Z73. What do you go by? Because that's I'm not gonna say that.
I'm just plain old Scott. Just
Scott?
Scott.
I like that.
Solid.
All right.
Scott
One syllable.
Dakota.
There's no street names, unfortunately. I'm not that cool.
All right, so yeah, we're live. We're in the waiting screen. Everybody can hear us. So,
oh my,
yeah, I don't know. I enjoy doing this now, just letting people hear us before we even go live. Because normally I would
it's the lotion lobby.
Well, see, but it's not technically, and that's why I didn't just immediately default back to that. But
I'm not seeing us up.
You're live for me.
Yeah.
On your faces.
I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Oh, there you are.
So, oh boy, this is gonna be amazing. But I'm gonna tell you, it's been one of those days where you just feel like everything's off. Y'all familiar with those?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I felt like I slept well and everything, but
really,
yeah, but like pretty much since 10:30, I've just kind of been just, I don't know, just off, just not.
Did you drink enough? Did you eat well?
I mean, I ate. I mean, I ate healthy. Okay. It was just off, like nothing like coughing or anything like that. Just feeling, just the air.
That's
around.
The excitement.
That's the excitement. Yes,
for having me on, right?
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Oh, of course. I mean, whenever we have Asa, it's just
like,
oh my god, the king is returning. Yum.
Yum.
Yikes.
Yikes, yeah.
So, oh boy.
Wait, okay, what do you want me to retweet?
I mean, you don't have to, but if you want to.
No, I do. I want to, but like specifically, Mighty, one of your tweets, right?
Sure. I've tweeted. He's tweeted. Just whatever comes to hand.
Yeah.
So, and just so everybody can hear everybody well, right? Like you can hear me clearly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully the good times.
Yes, I mean, it's an interesting topic.
It is. I agree.
So it's going to be fun to get everybody's opinions, especially all of the guests that have actually had the experience with this topic. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, very much so. Cynic, Tim, and Inso. No, he's not settled in. He's never settled in.
No. I'm not very happy with my current setup, but it will have to do.
I've seen worse. It's not bad.
I literally cannot. I don't know if you can see that, but look, I can't even stretch out my hand fully.
Oh, I didn't realize the door was that. Yes, I thought it was against the back wall. No, it's the side wall. Ooh.
If I do this, then I can open my hand fully, but.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, this is prime green screen opportunity.
Oh no.
You could line that whole room.
No, because this is just temporary. It's just temporary. I've got a much larger room being decorated specifically for the podcast.
Real hot in there.
Yep, I don't need the heating on. The PC alone heats up this room. It's that small.
Yeah, my room heats up a lot, so I can imagine that room. It's like a hot box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's getting dark now, so I'll have to turn on the spotlights so that my camera works, which means it's going to get even warmer. So,
I mean, I keep my windows shut, so I just have my lights.
All right. Thanks, Bibson. I was checking with chat to make sure they could hear all of you clearly. But yeah, let's go ahead and get the show on the road here. Let me take that down. Oh yeah, slide it real nice. There we go. And we'll be right back, everybody. So it's been a while, guys, but welcome back to the Made in Dreams podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mighty Vicious. We've made it to 77 episodes, and today we're doing the Roundtable, which is the Dreams to PC Dev Roundtable. And guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little out of it today. It's a little rough, but I'm here for you through all the pain and the gains. And so also here is my co-host Jamie James, the mover gadget, and he's been moving for like
as of late.
Yeah, he's been moving for like the last 3.5 weeks, which is part of the reason we've been gone. Part, not all, just part. So how's that going?
Well, I'm finally in the new place, which is a plus.
Good.
But my new stream room is not ready. It's got to be repainted. It's got to be decorated. It's got to have carpet fitted. So at the moment, I'm in a Harry Potter style cupboard. And just for the viewers that can see, I can't even stretch my arm out all the way to the door. It's that small. So I'm very claustrophobic. I don't like small spaces. So yeah, I'm doing it for you guys. Okay, I'll be fine. Just a couple more weeks.
All right. And definitely. I want to go through and introduce everyone and give everyone a chance to pretty much introduce themselves, what they do. So I guess for starters, let's go ahead and I'm gonna flip everybody's name up here so that everybody can see it. There we go. I don't know why Discord doesn't just keep people's names up. Like
that would be very handy, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it? Anyway, so all right. Let's start out with the newcomers. So newcomers, Dakota, tell the people who you are, what you do, where you're from, all that stuff.
Right on. Yeah. Hey, my name's Dakota. Some people might know me as Wathcloth from PSN and the Dreamiverse. I make games in Dreams for fun, and for my day job, I'm a game designer at Blizzard Entertainment working on Diablo 4.
Cool.
Nice.
Damn. Whoa. All right. We're coming out swinging. Next, let's go ahead and go through with KJ or RD KATRELL if y'all know him on Twitter. Go ahead and tell the people what you've been doing.
My name's KJ, as you already heard. I'm the creator of Splice Adventures and Lumbox Studios. Currently I've transitioned from working in Dreams to working in the Unreal Engine with a small startup company working on a game called Maximum Velocity. And that's my job right now.
Cool.
Nice. All right. And from here, because we're gonna leave, you're gonna leave that guy for last, Acert. Let's talk with Scott or SC738. If you know on Twitter, we've all seen his work, and tell the people.
Yes, hello, SC73. So yeah, I've been using Dreams since beta, but I actually work in film and television, so I work in VFX. So that's kind of, and I run a company in Melbourne, in Australia. And we've been using Dreams in all sorts of weird ways for previs and kind of set design and all sorts of fun things. But developing, obviously, a game at the moment in Dreams as a personal project and loving every minute of it.
Fantastic. As always, Scott I can't wait to see how this all bounces off. And finally, he's been like the third host of the show for like it feels like you've been here a lot lately, Acert, and I'm loving it.
Let's just move on. It's just Acert. He's good.
I don't need an intro. Yeah, I mean that last podcast was like 3, but
yeah,
it was
not bad.
Yeah, it literally was. That was quite a long one.
Yeah, people actually didn't mind us missing last week because a few people were like, "Yeah, I still got 3 hours of that podcast to go through," and so that was a long one, but it was a masterclass. So I guess let's it still makes my head hurt. I'm trying to work my way through it again. It didn't get any better.
I haven't had time to even rewatch it yet with all the moving, but I really do need to go through back that and just see exactly what you did, because it's just like one of those things where you watch it and you're like, okay, I get it, and then once it's done, you're like, So how did we get here again? What did we do? We did
Yeah, I
something.
feel that.
This is the
Okay.
logic walkthrough that you did, Acer?
Yes.
Right
Yeah.
on.
Yes. So originally, I wanted to go into a little start off round with everyone, but I want to kind of skip to what everyone here wants to, like, in the roundtable wants to talk about. Like, what's something that you want to put out there to the Dreamiverse, or takes that you have, and then we'll all just go back and forth on it. So, who wants to start us off? Because I was promised some sauce. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say. I was promised some sauce. So,
I mean,
Nope.
I could start with a little bit from just going from Dreams to Unreal Engine. I think it's for me, it's been a great little stepping stone. I think is very digestible in Dreams, and that was something I was very grateful for. But going to some a little more, I would say professional. I think they're both professional in the same area, but the limitations are unlocked once you get out of Dreams, and then that's when the language starts to change and how they you use different, like, coding. It gets a little more in depth. And so for me, I think for those who are still in Dreams, I definitely think it's a great stepping stone if you want to get more serious.
huh? Okay. Well, I think that's the same stance that you have, Dakota, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think one thing that comes to mind, I hear you guys talk about kind of this topic or topics adjacent to it a lot on the show. And I think the most important thing for people to consider when they're having these conversations is the context, because dreams can be so many different things, which is kind of part of what makes it sweet. Because it can be just a hobbyist tool. It can be just a place to go in there and like express your creativity in an exploratory fashion and kind of slap some things together, some shapes, some logic, and just see what happens. You know, I know a lot of people who I follow on Twitter or who are in the Dreams community Discord who have like no desire to make games or even art. Like there's this one guy who just likes to hack away with logic and figuring out ways to kind of exploit the engine to get cool shapes. And you know, that's like a weird hyper focused kind of goal of his, but it's no less legitimate than like making a game or making a piece of art or a
Right.
visual effect with paint or something like that.
Yeah.
But with that in mind, if the context of the conversation is, can you use Dreams as a professional grade tool? I think the answer is more often no than yes, but you can use it as a means to develop transferable skills that you can take to another engine like KATRELL has, or to a different DAW if you're into music, and so on and so forth. It gives you a really great entry level exposure to a lot of concepts and tools that you can take forward with you if your goal is to pursue professional industry.
Now, I do want to speak on that too, because personally, in the scope of things, when I took a step, I don't even have my PS5 no more. I'm gonna just put that out there. My PS5, I sent it to my brother so he can play video games, because uh, I think Dreams has the capability of being more, but it's the hand is being held too much. Because if you look at, if and I'll toot my own horn. If you look at Spy's Adventures, right? There's 20 levels. It's not there's a lot of learning and development for me and growth for me as I was designing it. But there's 20 levels that could equate for somebody playing it up to 4 to 5 hours just trying to beat the game. Now, if that was able to be, exporter, and if there was a multiplayer, all the things that I wanted to do to Spy's Adventures could have been done. And imagine being able to be played on a smaller platform like the Switch or something, and it would be a perfectly, totally professional game that somebody could buy for whatever price that's set, and I think that'd be enjoyable. But I think the limiters are still on Dreams, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of felt like I had to leave that platform because I didn't like having a limit of 0 cash and then a possibility of getting cash. You know, it's not a hobby for me. It is a dream, but I don't want to just stay a dream. You don't just keep dreaming. You make little goals to reach those dreams.
Yeah. It's all about what you're using dreams for.
And from the perspective of what you've just said, RD and Dakota, would you say that for someone that's trying to get into game development, that has zero experience and just coming in straight off of the box, would you say that Dreams would be more appropriate for someone to sort of test the waters, if you will, with game development, or would you say why don't you just go straight into like Unreal or another engine? Like, what would be your opinion on that?
Dreams.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, totally, James. Like that's one of the value adds of Dreams is the barrier to entry is so much lower than any of these other tools because in large for many reasons, but we've talked about one already, just the whole scope of script and writing code. If you don't have any experience with that, that's going to be a humongous challenge for you to learn how to code and also learn how to make games concurrently. And so Dreams allows you to kind of sidestep that whole complexity. And if you get in there in Dreams and you're like, yeah, in fact, I really do enjoy the process of creating an experience and understanding why something is fun and kind of getting into that psychology of game design, and you want to go further, then it's like, okay, well now the next step is you got to learn to code a little bit so you can get into some of those more complex tool sets.
So I must say that I came from a background of doing some light coding and obviously having a lot of experience with a lot of pro apps and so forth over the last 30 years. But I actually found Dreams to me was like a place to go to get away from a lot of that stuff. And I mean, monetization aside, game development to one side and everything, even though it's a walled garden, it gives you that nice, shiny feeling when you're in there. And even after 12 hours sitting in front of the computer doing your job, I can still sit in front of Dreams for 6 hours and it's actually relaxing and it's a different creative headspace because of the immediacy of the tools. As you said, you can find yourself writing a track or sculpting a character or working on some logic. The lessons it teaches are all incredibly, the fundamentals it teaches are incredibly useful. And I don't think there's anything really like it that's as holistic for teaching that. But I actually found, many years ago, I was into Unity and Unreal trying to get into it. And I actually found, again, the amount of knowledge and input you need before you start there can spook a lot of people off. And I found Dreams was kind of my gateway drug to getting back in because, I mean, I've been able to do in Dreams, I couldn't even touch what I was doing in Unity and Unreal. And I found that Dreams is, to me, the solution to getting that enthusiasm back for what you're trying to achieve. It's a fantastic sketch pad, but I do think it still can be something that can be developed down the track. Hopefully they've got a roadmap for that where there's ways that you can output maybe the games or output the content that you're doing.
Right.
And then it can be even more relevant to that workflow. But I do find it sort of the opposite for me. It was somewhere to go to get away from pretty much work and get away from all those apps. And that's why I don't really want Dreams on the PC as a separate thing, because I don't want to see that icon next to all those other apps that I have to deal with all day. That ruin that for me,
Yeah.
Interesting.
That segues into a thought that I had because for those that have been on Twitter the last 2 days, a lot of people have been posting about Adobe's new Substance modeler.
Yeah, it looks like a lot like dream sculpting, right? That thing.
Yeah, don't it?
It does,
Don't it?
yeah.
See, that's and that's part of my worry. Because like I know a lot of people, we've talked about Dreams and PC a lot. I'm pretty alone in the idea that I want it to come to PC, and I don't care if it's updated or not. Like I think the true power of Dreams will be unlocked when it becomes Blender. When it's something that can stand alone. You don't even really need the Dreamiverse. The Dreamiverse would be interesting, but then that brings in the legal stuff. So I mean, when I mean standalone, I mean just like Blender. It's like I see Substance Modeler, and for the first time in my life, I feel like my business bone started to ache.
Ooh.
And I was
you're getting your tie ready there, like get the
because,
suit out.
Because to put it in terms in which I like to speak, which of course, movies. Back like 7 years ago when they spoke to HBO, the head of HBO, they were talking to him about Netflix, and he was like, well, what is your goal for the next 10 years? And he said, well, we have to become them before they can become us. And that's kind of my worry with not being able to have Dreams on PC, because I do feel like a lot of the things they do, yeah, they may not have all the options of, say, a Blender or an Unreal, but they have something that is going to be mimicked. And I'd rather get the credit for this amazing thing they've created than for something like Substance Modeler to come out and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, it's it'll still be its own thing when it comes out, because you can't completely match them, because Substance Modeler is just modeling. It's not the entirety of the Dreams package. But yeah, go ahead, Scott. I think you wanted to.
Apps they tend to sort of, we're trying to unify all apps into one experience. It's all the same. Like that's the great thing, that everyone's got their different apps for different sort of styles of creativity. Dreams is unique in the fact that its tool set and the way you approach it is completely different. If it becomes where it's trying to compete with Blender or trying to compete with Unreal, we just end up going, oh, it doesn't have this feature, but it has this feature. And you end up pointing, and it loses its magic quality, which it is completely different to those other applications. So I think that's where it does, even though it's on a console, which again is a technical achievement as much as anything.
Oh, miracle.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. But I think if it's, don't get me wrong, I want everyone to see it. I want everyone to use it. I want everyone to experience it, because I think it's going to open the box for a lot of people that just don't think they can do these things. So I think that's its biggest strength. And I think, having said that, last few years, Blender and everything have gotten a lot more traction because they're doing a lot of social stuff. You're seeing a lot of artists do incredible work in there. A lot of the other engines too, they're just, they're feature creeping, they're getting stronger and stronger. But I wouldn't like to see Dreams just trying to compete, because it'll lose on the basis that people will go,
that's the thing. I don't think they need to compete at all. Like,
yeah,
they've carved out a niche, right?
I don't think they can compete.
All I meant by saying Blender, just in case it wasn't clear, was that it was something that could stand alone, but again be open source. Because one of the things that, I mean, it only comes out every now and again from people who work with Media Molecule, but like they're just I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, so I'm not going to say any names, but they hear everything that we in the community say, and they want it just as bad as we do. And it's actually gotten to a few of them that they can't do it fast enough, because they're just like, if we work on this, then that means this whole thing we've been working on is done. Because I mean, they're not much bigger than they were 40 people before this dropped. And so it's, but yeah, I don't think it has to compete. I just think it has to exist. And in the open source Blender model, I think it allows people to do like what they did with Blender, which they have pretty much the entire industry working for them. Like if someone can't do something, they're like, oh, well, I'm going to go program this thing. Oh, look, there you go. Now Blender as a whole has this thing. And I think that would not only help them catch up in certain things that they don't, that, like you said, when compared to some of the others, it'll be like, oh, well, you don't have the ability to do blah, 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 blah. I don't know enough to put words to that. But, but that's something that I think would help it grow faster. But like I said, that's only available if you were to do that PC open source route with like a licensing thing for.
See, sorry, no, please go on.
I think that it's funny because it's separate conversations. It's like saying that if we have one conversation is we just want people to be exposed to the tool and be able to use it wherever they are, and I think that's a completely separate thing in a way. And I think from game dev thing, I would love to see them go once a game is strong enough and its of said yes to it, or the community loves it, you can put a wrap around that, stick it on the PSN and put $5 on it. Another conversation, if they can do that, that would just open the box in a lot of other ways. It wouldn't make it become Unreal or anything, but it would just give developers that reason to stick around and that reason to work on the Dreams platform. And then the other one is output options for artists, whether it's, you can output music, but, outputting, say, geometry, or outputting, other assets from there. And I think that's a separate thing again. And that's what I mean. It's not sort of one solution for everything. There's a lot of different types of artists and creators that use the tool. And I mean, there's so much junk on the PSN at the moment. People are just doing asset flips. These horrible things that are up there right next to AAA games is kind of embarrassing. If they're putting that sort of publishing that kind of content on there, why can't we see some of these stronger Dreams?
Very true. Very true.
Ready to go. And then developers can start, even if it's $1 or $5, it's a completely different universe. And I can't see why that's so difficult when the way the Dreamiverse works already keeps it cool with copyright protection, already keeps it cool with Peggy 13 stuff, that kind of thing. It seems ready to roll, and I'm sure it's on a whiteboard somewhere there. But I think after 3 or 4 years, it would be really nice to see if that's on the roadmap. I mean, output options, I think, are easy because they already exist. If you actually talk to MM and you've got something you need to output, that can obviously be done. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's about exposing Dreams to the world. It's about being able to give developers a way to get their product, off the Dreamiverse and onto the PSN or onto PC with a wrapper. That would be amazing too. Being able to say you can wrap your game up and stick it somewhere else. So I think it's time for MM to start having those discussions a bit more productively with the community.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I think one of the main issues with that is crediting people, because you can use anything from the Dreamverse, right? And you know how each game has a huge list of credits. So the main argument is how do you properly credit people, or because
their assets.
that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Well, it's a credit tracking system for kind of that reason. I mean, to be honest, if you do something with the outreach team, it has to be created entirely by the user or the collaborative users.
Yep. I like that solution. I agree.
I mean, it's the only logical way of doing it, really, because you can't exactly export something and monetize it and then expect to try and figure out how you cut that money up between 150 people. I made a tree, but I made a mountain, so I get more than the person that made the tree. That's just never going to work. So it's either the person that made it or the collaborative joint people that made it get the cut, providing that all of the assets were made by that one person or the collaborative group, and that's it. That's the only logical way.
At the same time, it's almost like when we're working at Unreal and we need assets, and we're a small team, like a team of 10 or 12, and we're not going to make all these assets. So sometimes we go to the asset store and we can buy them. Once we buy them, we don't have to credit really anybody. They're our assets. They gave us that license to use them.
Intended use,
yeah. And so if Dreams did the same thing, the ones that you buy, you can use. The ones that you don't buy, that's time for practicing and getting used to the tools.
I think if Dreams did the same thing, everyone would lose their shit. Everyone would
put
just
off of
freak
Dreams.
out. If people could, oh god.
If Dreams turned into the UE marketplace, I'd be completely put off by that.
Yeah,
right.
I don't like the idea of that.
You also got to look at at why. If your use is the hobbyist, then why are we looking at trying to even get money? But if your use is to get money, then you're going to pay for those assets because you need those assets. It is two different markets. So maybe you just have a door that says, hey, you want a hobby? Here's a whole bunch of free assets. Let me use those. Let me just do this. Hey, you want to pay? You want to try to make a game and sell it on a PlayStation store? Hey, go through this door so the other people don't see it. Here's all the ones people are trying to sell, because there are great assets that when I made Splatties, I was like, man, if I could just use their assets, but I don't want to credit them right now. I don't want to credit all these other people. But if I pay for it and I don't have to credit them, I'm buying it. There were tons of great assets. But
if it was separated so that you just had the standard Dreamiverse of what we have now, and then there was the e-commerce Dreamiverse where it's exclusively just to buy assets, so it doesn't sort of interrupt with the ecosystem that we currently have with Dreams, that would be totally acceptable, because then you could just turn it on or off if you wanted to see it.
Exactly.
but melding it in with what we currently have would really break what Dreams
Right.
currently is for me.
Culture of Dreams is not. I don't think they ever were going to say there was going to be a dollar for some asset or something. I think you're right. That would completely shatter the whole culture of it.
Mhm.
But I think definitely doing something like a developer program or something where an individual or a team can agree, yes, the 5 of us will be working on this. Here are our PSN names and everything, and we'll be collaborating on a project that will then be kind of signed off as something that can be released. I mean, I think it's possible, but I know what you mean. It's a completely different, separate ecosystem. But it would just be nice if there was some framework for it. Yeah.
Biggest problem with that is I'd have to make a low poly asset puppet myself because I just use Acer's low poly puppet for everything I make. So
Damn
it's
right.
gonna be tough.
So
It's the proudest. It's my proudest sculpt. I peaked with that, honestly.
I
great.
peaked. So I guess just to finish off this conversation, at least in this run of it, I guess I want to see how do you feel Dreams should be viewed by its user base or user base? God, I can't speak anymore either. Because I feel like most of the frustrations with Dreams comes from its limitations, but I don't know if that's fair.
Yeah, it's not
Because
really fair.
it's not like it's not like they told you were going to be able to do something and you can't.
That's exactly
like,
right. Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
The frustration I think that you see with some people that again, we're not naming names, right? This is general points to be made is a misalignment between reality and expectations. And the reality is that Dreams is a piece of software developed with some intended use, by the designers of Dreams at Media Molecule, which I think is a more hobbyist slant on creativity and creation. And so you find people who are frustrated because their expectation is, I'm going to use this to make any sized and style game I want out of the box. And now I've found a limitation that the engine has inherently. And now I'm frustrated because this tool isn't as good or as complete as some of those other tools. But the thing is, it never was intended to be. And so that I think is a change that needs to happen mentally for those creators who wish to make bigger and badder projects.
Are you telling me I can't make Skyrim in Dreams? Is that what you're saying? Damn.
Exactly.
I think you're totally right. I think the problem that people had, even myself, is when you look deep and down into the videos. I've been following Media Molecule since Little Big Planet, and I've loved every single game all the way up. So when Dreams was coming out, first I was off put, but then when I saw them talking about their dream for these creations to be able to be sold on the PlayStation Store, I'm not gonna quote which dev said it, but it was in a stream. That turned me on to learn it as soon as possible, because I'm like, if they can get there, I will be willing to do this because I love their work. I love their UI. It's easy to read. It's easy to understandable. It's digestible. And I think a lot of people start looking into things they say, and maybe they just have to be careful or just straight out say, it will never. It's just for fun. And
Yeah, that's why they stopped saying things.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's specifically why
they learned their lesson there.
That's why you can't say anything when you're developing a game about anything that's not in the final 1.0 product.
But yeah, they're thinking about it. They want it, but practical.
They definitely want it.
There's a massive difference between what Media Molecule want to do and what they say versus like the guy that went on E3 and said what was going to be in Fable 3 and never ended up in the end product. Like there's a huge difference there. And let's just put that out there.
So
Dreams was built as a reaction to the tools that we've been using for the last 20 years. I really think they looked at everything that frustrated them from, as you said, from a hobbyist point of view, and allowed that to be a sort of gate of entry rather than to restrict people. So in that way, it's an award-winning, stunning piece of. I mean, I haven't used anything that's as exciting creatively, and as I said, is my happy place away from all the other tools that we use. But yeah, I don't think it was ever supposed to be designed like that. But that's good because this is what has been missing. I can't believe this hasn't existed before. And again, it took MM to do it. And I agree from what you're saying before is that even in LBP, it's an addictive quality to creating. I mean, the logic tool set alone, if you're into electronics or coding, is again a brilliant way to visualize those concepts. And that's why I would love to. I mean, I'm sure they'll all be stolen and borrowed by other developers for their engines. But yeah, I mean, look, let's admit it. Dreams is what it is. It's already what it is. It's already at its peak of what it's trying to achieve. It succeeded in that.
Everything
but
else
I
is
think
gravy on top, right?
Yeah.
exactly. And if you want to take it further, there's 1,000 different ways to do that. But then not everyone's a game developer as well. We're seeing, I mean, the amount of musicians that work in Dreams and music, DAWs and stuff are incredibly advanced and affordable and amazingly accessible, but they still choose to work in Dreams because there's completely different headspace around it. And that's what we're, again, like you were saying before, reformat the way you think about it, is that literally we just need to stop comparing it with other engines and know that it stands alone.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's so frustrating, because like music people and film people can export. Like I don't want to say like we're wasting our time making games, but at least with music and film, it doesn't feel as big of a waste of time, because like you can export it and share it and stuff. With games specifically, and I guess experiences, it's walled in, as you said. It's stuck in
It's
Dreams,
a big sandwich.
which we know, like, okay, like we went into it knowing this, but still it feels really bad. It feels really bad, and that's why it's frustrating, because like you want to do more. Like we want to use the tool; it's so good, but we can't. Like it's really frustrating.
I've been using Blender and Unreal, and I'll tell you, I've learned a lot. But I mean, learning those keyboard shortcuts, learning the different
Blender.
lingo.
Don't get me started.
And I'll tell you, I'm pretty cracked out at Blender now. Like I just started learning 2 weeks ago, and I look like I've maybe been through college learning Blender and unwrapping and everything. And it's because number one, I have to do it because this is like my my job. I'm learning all these different tools, but then when I start moving, like how do you shift sideways or pan sideways? I wish it was a controller. I wish it was Dreams. I wish the UI was fun instead of it's the same.
Clinical.
And I think I think the other engines and tools can get a little more user friendly and whatever. I mean, I haven't learned C++. I haven't learned full scripting. I'm still spaghetti coding with those other tools, but I only know this because of Dreams. And then with the other people else, they come in, they can either correct me or they say, I like this, and it works. And we can do, a whole bunch more. But I think I definitely think that the other engines are, in my opinion, they're behind on Dreams, and Dreams isn't them at the same time.
In some aspects, yeah.
Pros and cons, right? Yeah, each have their strengths, and they are not the same.
Yeah.
And Dreams is a victim of its like success, because everybody, everybody from the like community, we all experience it and then see what's possible, and that just makes us dream bigger.
Exactly.
And then Media Molecule is like, we're working on it. We're working on it. If you just give us some time, we need time.
They've had a decade. I'm tired of waiting.
We're coming out here with the hot takes.
Wow.
All right, okay.
Well, I mean,
they've had 10 years. Come on now, guys.
But I mean, and then to go back to that, point from a little bit ago that Acert made, I'm not going to lie, and I really don't. I'm really not saying this to get to anybody, but I sometimes look at the games that are being made, and I'm just like, I'd make this into a movie. Like I just being that's where my mind is anyway. Yeah. I'm always like, they probably could have did this with like a fourth of the work as far as like the technical aspect, turned it into a film or pitch material, and then taken it out of Dreams and gone another way. And is it wrong? There we go. Let me get spicy. I'm gonna be the one. I'm not. Is that something that should be said to people? For the people who seem to be upset that, they can't export games, it's just not possible right now.
Yeah.
I do believe it will be, but it's not right now. Like, is there is there
Or
it,
people
like
make a
I
movie
feel like
instead.
I feel like there's two options. There's two options. It's either go the KJ route and just be like, yo, well, I guess I got to get to this other thing, which we've told people from like in past episodes, like maybe no, 2 episodes ago, where it was just like, if you got to make the decision for yourself, if you need the money now and you need to
Oh,
shoot
yeah.
for that business goal now, then yeah, like that's up to you. You got to decide whether or not you want to go try to tackle one of these other programs that is more difficult, but does have a higher yield as far as the limitations are getting yourself out there to multiple people with the product you make. But and I know somebody's gonna be mad at me. I'm gonna get myself in trouble so bad. But yeah, should I look at people and just be like, not everybody's an acert. They can't just flip over and go and program an actual game,
Yeah.
easy peasy before they have their soup before bed. But but yeah, I mean, is there something to that? To just try to tell I mean, I know everybody's into what they're into. You can't just go,
Yeah.
you know what?
That was my
Movie.
thought. That was my
But-
thought. The people that are
but-
creating movies may not be the same people that want to create experiences, although there's tons of overlap there, of course.
Oh, yeah.
I think it depends on
Yeah.
the game. If it's a narrative-driven game, sure, make it a
Yeah.
movie. But like, if it's like Cluster Factory or something, I don't know what you want me
Yeah.
to do there.
Bro,
Yeah.
take
Hey man,
take
they made a
take-
Battleship movie, so who knows?
Not really
I think it's
sure
only-
what
I
you're
mean-
I've
asking.
noticed there's an increasing amount of people that are creating their sort of first work folios to approach studios using Dreams, which I think is a fantastic.
Cool.
If it's an on ramp into the industry,
Yeah.
essentially.
That's
So
what I
a
did.
lot of people can spend a year of that in Dreams, and as Artie was saying before, it's like going to college. It's like teaching yourself the fundamentals of all these
I can
components, and then when you present yourself, excuse me, you've got a folio. You already understand some of the gameplay concepts, which I mean, I've seen on Twitter. I think there's a few people that went, "Yeah, I got the job," literally because of the
Yeah.
folio that I did in Dreams. Again, another reason that I think Dreams was created is they went, how can we get more people into this wonderful industry that is actually really, really insular in a lot of ways. It's hard to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I did. I think there's more. So something I would say to anybody who wants to go into game development professionally and they wish to use Dreams as a stepping stone or a portfolio creating engine or something like that is, I would really hazard against the idea that somebody's going to discover your magnum opus game you've made in Dreams organically and recruit you to their studio. That it's possible. It's not impossible, but is highly improbable. Instead, what I would recommend is I will explain what I did, and I will say I've had success with that approach, but of course it's anecdotal and I'm a sample size of one. But I went into Dreams Creations knowing that I wanted to be a designer. And so everything I made in Dreams was intentional with that goal in mind. Very, very intentional. I wasn't just creating for fun, and that might sound kind of icky and it might make the magical
How dare you.
qualities of Dreams. Well, Scott mentioned how Dreams does have that quality to it where it doesn't feel like work and it's different from his work, in a
Right.
mental sense. But I went into Dreams kind of maybe almost the opposite thing in mind, where I'm like, all right, this is work. I am doing things almost like KJ mentioned about learning Blender. Is like, I need to learn Blender in order to facilitate my goal. And that's how I approach Dreams. I need to learn Dreams so I can express game design concepts to pursue my goals.
Exactly.
And so with that in mind, I made creations. I made videos on YouTube. I called them design journals. They're basically just me talking about my design goals, retrospecting on them, their success, talking about user feedback that I got, and then describing changes I made based on that user feedback. Because that process, build, release, feedback, iterate, is kind of the core workflow of game design. And it's something that you have to be incredibly comfortable with and experienced with the process.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's it. I'll speak onto that, Dakota, because when we was designing Splatties, we had that on our we have a Milanote. It's like an app and it's very visual. And we had that process where we would design the music and we design our levels. We did concept art, then music, because I firmly believe great games have great music, in my
I
opinion.
agree 100%.
And and then after concept art music, we went through gray boxing. Then after gray boxing, we started to play test from there. And then we design. And then once we finished the level, we had our game tester go back through it. And then we kept refining it. And when we, publish it, we get the feedback. Yeah, 3D platformers isn't everybody's cup of tea. And Spidey's it's on its infancy level. We didn't get to where we wanted to because we got a lot of feedback and we had to figure out how do we keep the game we want to develop with the amount of buttons on a PlayStation 5 controller. And I think the experience that I've gained from working in Dreams is my college experience. When the company I work for did a lot of hiring, there's a lot of people that submit stuff that you'd be like, I could do this in Dreams. And you're like, they have 4 years of college. I have 0.
Right.
And I'm able to take that determination, learning some of that, logical stuff and apply it into Unreal and into, all these different tools. And the only thing is they're just separate. And even while I was doing this, I'm like, man, if we need somebody else, who could I think of? And Acer popped in my head. I was like, oh, maybe I could get, maybe if there was anybody in Dreamverse, it would be Acer because I've seen his quality
Yeah.
stuff, and I know in my mind, I'm just like I said, just call me big head or whatever. I'm like, we're at the top of the game design level, like programming complicated stuff. Spidey's does not look complicated, but the back end of Spidey's, you gotta look at it. We have 300 crystals and all this boxes and
I
platforming, goals, objectives, menus. You don't think about it, but that was a lot to condense down
Yep.
into that game. And so all that experience of how things work translates into the game that I'm working on now. And now that I have all this experience with Dreams opening me up to animations, modeling, UI, and all this stuff, I'm a game developer, and I also do level design because I did the level design in Dreams. I'm doing the UI design because I did the UI design in Dreams.
yeah.
Practice.
I ain't touched
What's
the
up?
music, so I don't got that. I don't got that. That was Nilo. But we've got enough experience that we're able to push forward with this project. And I'll tell you, multiplayer is hard, so I'm patient with Media
Oh
Molecule.
god,
Multiplayer is very hard.
so
It's very
hard.
hard.
You just press that button. There's like a button in Unity
Yeah.
under the multiplayer menu that it's just
Oh.
you turn it on and then it works.
It just does
I don't
everything
know.
for you. Yeah,
Only
like,
a
you're gonna
select
have
the amount of
to-
players.
like-
And then you don't know where that is. What-
I just made
Right.
a sustainable farming entry for the jam. Just a couple days bullshit. Sorry, I don't know if this is family friendly podcast.
It's
No,
fine.
carry on.
It's just a couple days of work, and it's just a stupid joke. It's an interactive experience, but it basically is a joke that takes the piss out of people who say, "Just add multiplayer."
nice. But yeah, KJ, I can attest to how Dreams experience like carries over. It doesn't help with programming like almost at all.
Mhm.
But like some of the techniques I've used for like Towercraft specifically or laser bounce, like I do like how I solved it in Dreams. It's like it was surprising. Like I did the exact same thing in Godot, like pretty much, and
Mhm.
it helped. Like I had already made it in Dreams, and then I just did. I didn't have to like figure it out
Right.
in a new engine. It was
Mm.
nice actually.
Right.
So-
The scripting aside, right? It just does help you think in terms of these logical paradigms
Yeah.
that are in code and are all over game development, right?
Mhm.
I'm sorry, Scott, did I cut you off?
Not at all. No. Just contributing to what Asap was saying before. I think too that I find that if you're on the couch or hanging out in your bed or something, that's when suddenly an idea pops in your head, and you can't really sit down and do that in Maya or something. It's not really the place to do it. So I find it's a bit like you've got an iPad and you're in Procreate or something. You'll go, I've got a quick idea. I find Dreams is a great sketch pad for even
Yes.
logically. You go, I wonder how that mechanic would work. And half an hour later, you're like, yeah, that's totally going to work.
Yes, you can go from zero to gameplay so fast in Dreams.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
in
and
Dreams it took like
I'm just
40
gonna-
minutes to make a camera controller, and in Godot it took me like 6 hours.
Wow.
Now, like if I had to do it again, it would not. But still, like, and I've been using Dreams for 2 years. But again, still, like something as simple as just moving a camera, like a kind of an isometric camera that can rotate and pan and stuff. It
It
was
took me 3 days in Unreal. I'll be
Yeah,
straight honest with you.
it's
3
not
straight
easy.
days of just like Googling, looking for documentation. And you guys have more scripting C++ experience than me. I am still spaghetti coding, but I got it to work and it was great. And it
Nice.
it was good. And we're working with a car game. And I'll tell you, that is a hard one to do.
Camera's
But
important for that.
it,
Yeah.
a lot of that stuff was my experience with making what was our game? Street Race Unlimited. It drives like crap. I knew it drove like crap. I put it in and then I went back later and refined it offline. I never published what I got right because I didn't want to continue working on 2 different projects.
Yeah.
But I kept performing like, how do you get this? How does it feel? And then when I got to the job and I started working on the car game, it was natural for me. And there's a couple videos on Twitter if you look at it of us a while back ago, and it looks good. It looks really, really good. And that's all the feedback that I put into the game, which may not be the right way or the best way, but I can say this. And my old boss who taught me a lot, he says, um, there's different ways of learning and it doesn't matter how you learn there's no wrong way and no right way. So somebody who's getting experience and somebody who's getting a piece of paper having a degree, they're still learning the exact same way.
Yep.
So I'm thinking to myself how to turn Acert's game into games into movies.
Please.
I just like I was
How?
That
starting
great
with,
character.
I
You
was
probably
starting
had a
with
cigarette
laser.
back too, right? It's a
Man, I
movie.
was starting with Laser Bounce. I was just
With
sitting
laser
there like,
mounts. Okay.
Yeah.
A puzzle game.
Laser
Sure.
Bounce, the
Sure.
movie.
Yeah.
Let's hear that pitch.
I'd probably need more time, but all I can think of is Dakota's character from Cosmonaut, being that he says that he uses Acert's model.
Mhm.
Yeah, the puppet.
He's
So I was
everywhere. He's
just-
also the runner in my color jam in case of emergency.
Yeah, I see it a lot. I see it a lot like that movie, The Cube, except there's just everything is like a death. Everything it's like a death trap, and the person doesn't know why they're there, but they have to solve these little like puzzles basically to make it through the compound. And who knows where the compound is? Is it on Earth? Is it not on Earth? Where are they? I see something that could be done there, but I'd need more time. Just a little more
Sounds
time.
like a great
So,
game.
so your
great, man.
idea is to watch someone else play the game, basically.
It's wonderful.
I mean, is
Fourth
that
person experience.
as someone said before, there was a Angry Birds movie, bro. So you
That
know,
is-
you
Do you think
can't-
the devs made the movie?
No.
Do you think they're
No.
related to it in any way at all?
No, but I bet
Yeah,
you they
okay.
probably could have made a better one. I mean, I'm not
Okay.
trying to throw shade at nobody,
All right.
but I feel like they're at the ground level to where they would have created a different movie than what we saw, and it might have actually been fine. I mean, I'm
They
just
created
saying.
like it was cool. They made like it's like a movie, but you control the things in it. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like
That's novel.
they made a game.
yeah, yeah.
It was crazy.
I mean, you can't argue the fact that games have far surpassed like film as
yeah.
like the
No,
top
that's
tier
why I
of,
like them.
of it. Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's like
I don't even
same
watch
as
movies.
same as before. Like you can't tell somebody where their heart lies. So like that's why I wanted to say what I said to see
Yeah.
exactly what came back at me. And so yeah, I mean, I love the idea. I love the idea of, KJ was going through with like experience, like no matter what, it's experience. It's something that we've said not as eloquently here before with with people as far as like, yeah, I feel handcuffed with things. I feel handcuffed with things that I want to say that is just going to cause more confusion. But things that I know, but
Yeah.
that haunt me at night. Anyway, no. But yeah, so you, from what I'm getting, you're saying that there is a bridge between Dreams and PC dev. Like, how big is that bridge? Because I'm gonna tell you, I've tried the others. I've tried Maya. I've tried, let's see, in sculpting, I've tried ZBrush. Blender, and God, I tried to do I tried to understand Unreal like a few months ago when the
boy,
beta
yeah,
was
I've
going
tried
on.
it.
I tried so hard.
It's
but
all about the goals again. You know, like there's definitely the bridge is there if your goal is professional development in whatever avenue, music, art, experiences, game development. You just have to be aware of which of the skills that you're developing while using Dreams are the
Yeah.
transferable ones and which aren't.
Yep, exactly.
And you got to go fill the
Yeah.
void for all the shit that's not transferable and go learn that outside of Dreams.
Exactly. That's kind of what I did, not really on purpose, but like when you're starting out, it doesn't matter in what you're starting out in. It could be a PC engine, Dreams, it doesn't matter. You're going to suck really badly. Like you're going to be horrible.
True.
You're going to be so bad. You might think you're decent, but looking back 5 years from then, your stuff is garbage. So, are you going to do your garbage stuff in Dreams or a PC engine? It doesn't really matter. For me, in Dreams, I did my garbage stuff in Dreams for the first year or two. And I learned pretty quickly. I'd say my stuff is pretty good now.
That's good.
If I keep making it in Dreams, though, like, I mean, for me personally, like, what's the point?
You can max out Dreams. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
There's a
I've
cap.
done my learning. Now, I'm going on to something where I can apply it, I guess.
Is it not helpful for simply just like, as you said before on your streams, just like setting out doing the mock-up?
It is.
Sketching,
It is. So that's where it comes down to like I'm going to use whatever's faster, you know? So the more experience I get in Godot, Godot might end up being faster. Dreams is nice because you have all the models right there, which makes it like so much faster. So like it all depends on what I'm mocking up. 100%. It depends. But for learning, I think Dreams is like fantastic because you can just fail quicker.
I think the thing with Dreams is like with Acer, you can reach that cap. Like at this point, when you're tier level guy, and I'll say I'm tier level guy, I can go and make a whole bunch of fun little games. Just 2 players can play easy in 2 days, 3 days. I mean, like that racing game we made that in a week. There's a cap though, so you learned all the tools. You learned like once you max out Dreams, if you're just doing it for a hobby, then stay in Dreams. But
yeah, like why are you doing it? Like that's the thing. Like,
but if you max out Dreams and you want to pursue something more, then you have to start learning other tools. And then it comes down to the main question. And this is the biggest thing I learned. How many people actually watch the tutorials in Dreams and do the tutorials? Because if you don't watch the tutorials in Dreams, you're not going to watch tutorials outside of Dreams. And that is the learning part.
Yeah.
I'd like to go against that if I understood it correctly, because I don't know whether or not it's some Bill Burr-esque manly fault I have or something, but when I try to do the tutorials in Dreams, I don't retain it. Like it's like a multiple choice question for me, where like in school you study so you know which one to circle or to fill in, and then you just forget it immediately.
What about with outside? Have you watched tutorials for anything else outside of Dreams?
Everything that I've learned for Dreams has been outside of Dreams.
No. I mean like a different program,
another
like
tool.
Blender or something.
Oh yeah, I when I was going through
Did you have the
another
same
situation-
issues? Like retaining?
No.
Why? Do you know?
That's strange.
I don't know. I think it has.
Do. I'm wondering if you know, because I know why.
No, I don't.
So with Blender tutorials, I or whatever. Well,
it was Blender
know.
that I was learning.
Sure, because you're doing it along with it. And with Dreams, I have a feeling you're not.
You rush. I go in front of it. Yeah.
You need to actually do it. Along with it. And with Blender, I bet you're pausing and doing it and like you need that muscle memory. It's so important. And with Dreams it's kind of hard because like it's on a PlayStation, so unless you have it, and maybe you do, but I mean I'd highly recommend just with any tutorials like actually doing the thing.
Yeah. I think I watch like 3 tutorials a day on something new I need to learn, or I'm trying to find a documentation. But I'd be even glad to show you like the insides of how I work, like one of these days, just for fun, just to show you like when I'm in Blender, I I'm modeling body kits for maximum velocity. I'm doing front bumpers. I could do bumpers in Dreams, and you could do it pretty good. You can make some pretty good looking cars, but when you're in Blender and you're doing it, you can make it look really crisp. And I think that part is satisfying. But I might spend 3 hours and then I'm like, all right, I'm not getting something. Let me YouTube it. And I'm watching this tutorial. I'm scrolling. I click the next one. I scroll and I click the next one. And I'm doing it with trying to figure out how to get this bump to look good. And the quality that like I've been able to increase. I mean, like I said, 2 weeks ago today, I learned Blender.
Wow.
And you
Yeah.
would not believe how many body kits I have made for this car and all this other stuff. And it looks good. When you see the car that we made for Maximum Velocity, I want you to think about me learning this 2.5 weeks ago because I looked up tutorials.
Yeah. So I think
That
Acer,
muscle
you might have
memory.
misunderstood me though,
Mhm.
because like when I'm doing like I'm talking about the difference between Dreams tutorials on like YouTube and the Dreams
Oh, mhm.
tutorials within Dreams.
Okay.
Like
Right.
Oh.
like
Yeah.
that's the part where there's a difference for me.
Mhm.
Because it's like
Okay.
because they're like holding your hand through each thing you're doing.
Yeah, but
In
you see, that's
YouTube or
what I liked
Dreams?
about it.
But it's yeah, that's the amazing thing about it. But the moment I'm done with what they showed me, gone.
For YouTube.
Now it
Oh
no
the
for in Dreams
in Dreams tutorials, the media
in
molecule
Dreams
tutorials.
Oh, the
within
media.
Dreams.
Why didn't you just say that?
Yeah.
The media molecule tutorials. I thought you meant like
in
levels
Dreams
people have posted
tutorials.
that.
Like
The Dreams tutorial. I understand now. Sorry. Well, you're talking about YouTube, and then you're talking about like Dreams tutorial. So I thought you meant like scenes people made that like are trying to help you or something.
The ones you
Or
do
remixable.
physically in game.
I understand.
Yeah, but that's neither here nor there. Now, I want to ask Scott.
Yeah, I don't know how to help you with that.
Where does it You already have, sir. You already.
Well,
have.
the Dreams tutorial
Yes.
specifically.
Oh no! The help to that is keep making them tutorials,
Well,
and
you're right.
I'll be around.
Yeah.
That's all. I'll swing by when I'm free. But Scott, being that you seem to do it as like there's work, and then there's Dreams at home, which is where I get to have fun. Has there? You showed us the video once of like the full playable game you had to make for a production. Like, have you found any other ways to kind of cross the bridge between or bring Dreams into a production again?
I think without contaminating what I love about Dreams too. I mean, and going back to what you guys were saying before, which connects with it, is that I definitely represent the dreamer that isn't looking to move into the games industry, or I already do my thing in my career. I do. So for me, this is literally a dream since I was young in the late 70s, looking at 8-bit stuff and wanting to make games. And so you're on Commodore 64, and then you're on your Amiga, and you move up and you move up. But I never did make anything that was very good because there's always these barriers of entry. So I'm literally getting to 50 and only now starting to develop a game, and it's consuming. I'm in love with this whole thing. I love doing this so much, but I'm not doing it to learn all the skills to go and present my work to a studio. I'm not doing it to develop a game to be released on another platform. I'm just doing it because I get a huge buzz off it, and it's just something I've always wanted to do. And also I want to get that idea out and see if other people enjoy it. That's fantastic. So like with tutorials, I much prefer the feeling of discovery and limitation that comes with Dreams, because it goes back to those days where you've had limitations and it made you go, how am I going to do that? Because I can't do that. How else could I do it? That's a really big part of the kick for me with Dreams, is being able to discover new techniques just by playing around with it. If I watch tutorials, I just get bored. Even with work, I don't watch videos on how to do stuff. I just go into the program and work it out, because I find then the information sticks. And that's maybe going back to what you were saying before, is why don't I retain that information? Because you've got to apply it. Practice makes perfect. You watch a video doesn't just implant the information. You've actually got to do it. And sometimes how people tell you is actually, you might find a completely different way to approach it. But to answer your question from before is, I work in obviously film and TV. So there's a lot of conceptual processes because essentially it's a linear, kind of product when you're done. It's there's shots, there's sequences, it's a story. So you work with art directors and production designers and directors, trying to visualize basically environments and worlds and set tone. And we've obviously, as soon as Dreams turned up, the first thing I was thinking is like, God, I know every production designer I know would just, lose their shit if they saw what you could do in this in 15 minutes. And I've actually have done a lot of work trying to get it in front of the production community and go, look, it's not going to be an app that you're going to use and replace what you're doing in art department.
Right.
But production designers don't actually, well, at least in Australia and down in this side, they are very stuck in their ways. They're very stuck in the old schools, and you'll see them in Vectorworks or something bash out sort of a set. And I'm like, it's so dry and boring, and it's not inspiring. And even storyboards, or I want to see more concept art. The games industry has this amazing thing where they get this incredible concept art that's inspired me for decades. And the production industry doesn't actually do that as much as you think, because because we're using cameras and sets and people. You don't do concept art that's too sort of stylized, because you have to work within the realism of the camera and what you're actually doing. So whereas a game, you can heighten the world and basically create what you're seeing in concept art. So we've been using it to do things like set concepts and designs. I'm not a set designer or an art director in production, but I find that's what I love to do, and I found I probably should have done that. I should have been a production designer, because I already know that design language. But Dreams was literally even though I've used every other tool and I'm pretty good at all that stuff, it wasn't until Dreams that the penny dropped, and I went like, literally, you can get the camera there, you can set the proper camera, you can move around the set, you can put lights in, and directors just literally their wig blows off. They go, "What's this? Why am I this on the Mac? Is this on the PC?" No, it's not. It's on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Which I love, but it's an awkward thing to go, oh, it's on a games console, and they go, oh, right, okay, don't worry about it. But that's the thing, when you see what people have been able to do with it, there's so many dreamers that have been more influential to my personal work and my headspace than I've seen on, I don't know, Pinterest or Twitter or whatever. Just seeing what dreamers are using it as a canvas for their ideas. And that's something that I think the production industry, we've just scratched the surface. And we used it to make a fake game for a show, which actually is, I think we can talk about that in a few weeks. I think it's out now. I'm usually not allowed to talk about stuff till it's all aired. And it's just a thing. It's in a scene, and it's just some kid playing a violent video game, and it's part of the story. But usually they'll just grab some student stuff off Steam or something, or some horrible thing. And it always looks like, they wanted something that looked like a AAA game, and we had 24 hours to come up with an idea. And in the morning, I sent it over to them, and I said, look, also it's playable. If you actually want to play it, you can actually.
That's so cool.
Which is really fun. And I mean, we've done some motion graphics using it for not because Dreams was better at it than, say, After Effects or something, just because I wanted to use Dreams to sort of prove a point. And also, it was a lot more fun to sit up all night doing that with a controller on big television. Then it definitely is sitting. I sit in this room all day, or in the office all day. I'm glued to all this stuff. And it's even, as I said, even after a long day, you can actually mentally relax, and suddenly your conceptual mind awakens. And that's something that I still think I'm trying to tune a lot of people into down here.
Did anyone? Oh, go ahead, Dakota.
I was just going to compliment Scott. Your environmental art on some of the stuff you release is stunning. It's really amazing.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. I mean, I must say that this is another, making a point for me in a very nice way, is that the feedback loop for creativity is, again, it can be very insular when you create, because you're not really showing people what you're doing. I mean, you might show it to your team or your people you work with, but you shouldn't be surprised if people in production are like, okay, that's going to work. But getting just comments like that, or a lovely comment on Twitter, it just stokes that fire, which you don't get from work. You don't really get it because it's part of the process of creating stuff for people on a brief, for a budget, for a schedule, for an expectation. But with Dreams, that's all just peeled away, and suddenly you can just do what you want to do without those limitations. And that's why, again, I think it goes back to sort of embracing the idea of concept art as a jumping off point for ideas, because I can do a location and get a whole idea for like a 15-minute scene, whereas I don't seem to get that from Maya. I don't seem to get that from, I don't spin around stuff in the viewport and go, oh wow, this is really actually, it could be this, it could be that. Whereas Dreams, as soon as you put a cube down and put a light on it, I get something happens. And it's especially from an environmental storytelling point of view, I've never been able to get even close to that in other apps, because I'd be there for a week and it just feels like another job.
Yep, totally.
That's a nice way to put it.
I guess
It's cool to see the areas where dreams can be used, like in a professional capacity. And I think overwhelmingly, our best examples are all concept art or artistic related, right? Because Martin, people like to invoke Martin's name as like the reason why dreams can work as a real tool, but he's an exception to the rule. But he's also working in a space where the tool lends itself well to the
Definitely,
space.
100%. Yeah.
That's very, very
Martin
true.
could use any
Much
tool.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he
Do
and
whatever he
Scott
wants.
both were like artists before dreams too. Also important to remember. Yes, is that true of you,
Yes.
Scott? I know
Yes.
it's true of Martin.
I
But
think
yeah.
Martin, you're right. Martin's very much the exception to the rule. But then, I mean, he's one of the few people that's really driving it hard, and he's so passionate about it being used as literally as a replacement for other tools. But I think you're right. He's the interface between his client, and I think being able to sit down and wave his move controllers around, it's like I don't know, color grading or something, where it's more about the theater of it than the process. So it's more about showing, wow, the immediacy of creating an idea in front of a director, or while you're literally reading script, you can create the scene, and there's no other way to do that.
Nothing like it, right? Yeah.
That's right. Whereas, I mean, Martin has done music videos, he's done TVCs, he's done experiential stuff, he's done installation work, he's done print media, he's done all these things. Because he's used the dream style, which it does have a style. It's hard to get away from, it's identifiable unless you really know what you're doing. But he's embraced that and made it his house style. And that's why he's able to really leverage it. But I don't think it's just limited to him, but he's certainly a good example of how to use it to actually pay the bills. But you're right, it's not for everybody.
So did anybody see on Twitter on Nguyen, who we'll have here as a guest next month, is using some program to actually get sculpts out of Dreams and into PC.
Yeah, Martin did this too, I think.
Yeah, I believe it's is it Polycam? If I'm saying that right, is it called Polycam?
It's something like that.
This is where he spins the thing, takes the read of the.
Yeah, so what it does, it from an iPhone perspective, it uses a LiDAR sensor within the iPhone to actually, like, laser image the 3D object and digitize that on the phone itself. And for Android phones, you just have to take multiple pictures and then it meshes it together. But with the iPhone, it's a much seamless experience because of that LiDAR sensor. It just shoots hundreds of thousands of dots at the 3D object as you turn it, and it just sort of creates this really cool mesh. And then it just paints it all, and then you can just export it into another 3D program outside of Dreams. It's really cool to see that
Very
work.
cool.
I think it's just a photography kind of approach to that. I mean, again, it's so awkward, isn't it, to get things out of Dreams? You've got to use the share button. Horrible compression and stuff. I guess that's the point of if MM have always teased the rapid prototyping 3D printing concept of it, because obviously whatever the height, the distance field that they use to render objects in Dreams, I'm sure is very transferable to the voxel world of say 3D printing. So if it's got to be possible to output these in an STL file or something that at least gives you the geometry. So it's a bit of a. I wish they just maybe that will come when they do the 3D printing update, the magical update, because then we'll be able to output something, and technically it should support anything that's painted on there, any materials as well. So maybe that's when it'll all begin.
I just feel like none of it is. How would I put this? That was about to be the wrong way to put it. But I feel like, that's right. I put out a poll not too long ago asking people what would they want first, like what update that everyone's always talking about, whether it be monetization, exporting, or monetization. I put in Wacom Sport because of course I'm going to talk about that. And monetization, multiplayer, PC, a PC port, or can't remember what the last one was. But the only way that I see a lot of the things people want being put in Dreams is if there's a PC port.
Right.
Like, the answer to the question is Acert's top 5 features that should be added to Dreams now. I love that video because it's such a knowledgeable insight of like bang for buck, because there's those ideas would be so valuable during the creation process and probably cost so little development time.
Yeah, exactly. And then if anyone's not familiar, it's oh god. Well, now I
That's
like
it. The
It's
pressure's
okay.
on now.
I
Yeah, I
repped your
know.
content, so you can feel free to take it from here.
The idea is like basically what can Media Molecule add to Dreams that is like relatively easy, like not multiplayer or exporting or stuff, just like little quality of life features that like not even new gadgets, because I understand that that's not easy. There's a lot of interactions that need to be tested. So like custom grid rotation, for debugging, going frame by frame. Should not be easy, or excuse me, should not be difficult at all. Even though it kind of sounds difficult, but just small things like that. If anyone else remembers the other three, but the destroyers not destroying the thing they're snapped to.
Yeah, destroyer scope is a confusing thing.
Um,
It's actually similar to the scope problem that exists with their scope updates, where a stamped thing does not count as being inside the group of the thing it's stamped
yeah.
on.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, it is
It's very
weird.
similar to the destroyer paradigm.
Yeah.
For those looking for it, I've put the link to that video.
Yeah,
in
there you
chat.
go. Thanks.
So
But,
there you go.
I'm sorry, Vicious. I totally co-opted your question.
hey, I don't mind. No.
I don't even remember what it was. To be honest, I had to go and search.
Your
for
question
this
was
thing.
about your Twitter poll. Your Twitter poll and like
yeah.
Well, I don't actually know what your question was, but you were talking about like the top 5 features that people possibly wanted. And you're saying how PC port is like you kind of need that. And I don't know, you don't need a PC port to export like objects, but I'm not even sure if that was on your poll.
It makes setting up all of those things. I
mean, sure,
mind you,
but like,
really, I mean,
because the way I see it is if there is a PC port, then you have a much better chance of getting some of these features like through things I've already discussed in this episode. It's just,
I mean, if there's a PC port, like you wouldn't need any of the other features but I'd say, I don't know, PC port is like a huge endeavor, but like exporting objects and the other stuff should be a lot
I just want
relatively
multiplayer.
more simple.
I just
But I think
want
high-res
multiplayer.
audio output or outputting stems or being able to put high-res renders of stills so they're beyond 4K, or maybe deferred rendering where a piece of video that you've created in Dreams can be actually slow rendered out as a sequence file or something like that that's cleaner. Those things, I mean, this is only if people really want to use it as part of their tool set or
As a
their
tool,
workflow.
yeah.
I don't think there's that many people that really warrant those options, to be honest. I think we're talking about several hundred people in a community of thousands of people really would be maybe use it. They might play with it for a few weeks, but maybe they just want it because they want it. I'm not trying to sort of get things up and get things out, but I think definitely being able to have those options there from an arts point of view, especially music output and image output, it really shouldn't be difficult. Whereas I understand that outputting a game separately is obviously going to be also pretty contentious. But it would be nice if they, as I said, at least started talking about that roadmap a little bit more than saying, yeah, cool. Well, it is so we could be here forever waiting. But and I mean, again, I think it's polished to almost perfection is what it was trying to be on paper. But definitely if they could just say, look, yeah, 3D printing's coming. Or, I mean, the VR update was a good example of that. I mean, there's, that was surprising that they actually got it out and it worked as well as it did. We could talk about PS5 version is, if that ever happens, which I kind of thinking it may not happen because it's really not going to transform the experience that much apart from maybe giving you some more thermo or giving you a little bit more, but it won't change the actual experience of the game. It actually runs beautifully on 5. Still kind of a couple of little glitches.
Sure does.
But look, I think you're right. I think the output options are certainly something that would be a fantastic thing to see, but I don't think it's driving that much of the user base.
I think it increased the user base, right?
See, that's what I was gonna say. 100%. Is that
I agree with you completely. There's like a couple hundred people right now.
A lot of it comes from like the biggest push for PC is to grow the base. Like that's the biggest thing. Like only if it were to be made into a standalone open source thing with licensing would, where we could have the community itself become the devs that are evolving the platform. That's where I think the gold is. But yeah, it's mostly because you can't you pick a Dreams video outside of a known dreamer on YouTube, and you will, within the first 5 comments of whoever's looking at Dreams, see a thread that goes into the thousands where someone's like, please put it on PC. If you put it on PC, I will get it immediately. I'm so excited to be able to play this game. I want to play it. I want to create in it. I mean, even with what I was talking about last 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, where the my brain is dying. God. Kyle Bossman. Where I was talking about Kyle Bossman, who I've enjoyed listening to throughout many years of playing games, and he worked at Game Trailers, and they went on to do other stuff. I found out that he actually, I said it would be great if you would stream it, and I offered to buy him Dreams if he didn't have it, only to find out like the next day that he does stream Dreams, only he does it whenever he hears about something being done like the Impys. And he was doing it and showing people all of the Impy winners and going around showing things that people were saying, hey, take a look at this. That's huge exposure for Dreams. But it triggered, people are like coming in and everybody came in the same way, kind of like a Bob Ross stream, where it's just, what is this? And then he'd be like, yeah, this is Dreams on PlayStation, blah, 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 blah. And they'd be like, wait, this is on what? And then he'd show Idyllium or Noguchi's Bell or one of the many other great winners, and people are like, wait, is this on PC though? And it's like, no, this is only on PlayStation. And it would just create this chunk of a bunch of people whose all their dreams just died. They're just like, ah. So like,
you got to remember, this is a Sony product. This is a they own the studio. I mean, they don't really charge for. They don't have any way of sort of making any money out of Dreams. It seems. I mean, they're not selling DLC like they did with LBP, which made them millions of bucks. There's no central character to do merchandising. There's actually no income that they're making from it. So it is I really think it's Sony. It's a love project. They go, look, we like making games. We're a games company. And I don't think they're trying to promote Dreams as much as they're trying to promote dreamers. The Impys are a great example of that. Look at the effort that goes into that now.
It's amazing every time.
The effort from MM, and that's not.
I'm not even gonna say anything about the Impys.
Oh boy! Oh, hey, I was promised the sauce. I was promised the sauce. Look, we'll come back to it. I'm gonna give you a chance.
We'll come back to that.
Go ahead. You and I can start the nominated ourselves for the Impys and didn't make the shortlist club. Yeah. It's okay. There's no shame in the club.
Well, look, I think that's the thing. Obviously, that is a way of saying these people are great and everyone else doesn't matter. But I think the Impys are designed really just to make some razzle dazzle around the platform, and because that's a press angle. It's the only way to get Dreams out there in the world is to do awards. It's like, well, I don't know, Oscars or something. People go, oh, that movie's out, that actor's out, right? Except there's no slap at the Impys, but I'm sure there would be. But I think definitely the way that you can see that the effort that's put into the Impys and some of the bigger community challenges, because they know that's what gets out on social media, and that's what's going to make people go, what's this? What's that? Who's this person that just won? Mighty Vicious is that. We'll check that out. So I think.
Sorry.
Yeah. So,
go ahead,
Scott.
So
I think that's what they're doing for us. They're actually not. They're clearly not interested in trying to sort of push Dreams as much as they're trying to get people exposed to it, so they can then continue their path onto wherever they were going to go. It literally is. They know it's a stepping stone. They're not trying to say it's everything and it's the end of your journey. It's the start of it.
Yeah. And I get that, but I also, like I said, this is the only time you will ever see me be like, my business bone is just tingling, because for me, it's like, I can understand that, but they've also obviously shown interest in, I mean, they bought they bought 2 companies that specialized in PC ports, because they are now getting into the idea of they're like a lot of their exclusives being moved to PC, which I have to think is because of money. Of
course it is. Well, yeah, what else would they do it?
Yeah, it's because of money, but like the company can. So obviously that is a reaction to Xbox Game Pass, right? Because it's no longer a platform war; it's a content war, similar to Netflix, etc. Right? It's about which company
100%.
has all of this stuff and the ways to deliver it to their users. And Sony's going to react, of course, but as Scott pointed out, a company can have like loss leaders, like investments that they know aren't net positive. Like there's no way that Dreams' development costs have been recouped. I say that too confidently. I doubt that their development costs have been recouped. And as he pointed out, there's no way to further monetize. And so that's okay. Like Sony can have some avenues where they aren't making revenue any longer. And even though they've invested or are investing in PC ports, that doesn't necessarily mean anything for Dreams. I'm not saying you shouldn't hope for that, Mighty. I'm just saying one does not imply the other necessarily.
No, that's true.
Also,
Scott
reminded
you
me
like
of,
he still had something to say.
He reminded me of one other thing I just wanted to say since we're talking about the Impys, which was I forgot to congratulate you both, James and Mighty, for Impys.
Thank you very much.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I think I stopped watching it though. But congratulations.
Anyway, did I cut you off, Scott? Did you have something else?
No, not at all. No.
Okay.
But I still want. I kind of want that sauce. I want.
You're teasing. You're teasing.
Because
What
I mean,
sauce? Sorry,
I know it's just I know that Impy's is usually a hard time. It's a good time for the community, but it's also a hard time for certain people because everyone
always causes friction.
Because everyone cares so much, and everyone is trying their best and doing amazing things. And it's I wasn't even gonna watch this year.
You didn't think you had a chance. You mentioned it a couple episodes ago, and I said in chat, I definitely value your shortlisting there, and I'm glad you guys won.
Yeah, it's just for me, it's like, but it's the same with everything. Like I don't watch the Oscars. I don't watch any of it because I'm just like, for me, it's like what I get at the movie. Like the movie itself stands alone for me. So as a person who will watch close to
He's loading. Bear with.
close to I'm trying to get an estimate. I'm trying to get an estimate because I mean I would say I'll watch. So just cut it down. There's several. As a person who will watch several hundred to 1,000 movies a year, and that's being light. I truly believe. I
had a buddy, one of my producers on the team, who said he watches a movie a day. That you're watching 3.5 movies a day.
My brother and I will straight sit back. We have a list. And we continuously add to the list.
Damn.
And after we get basically done with work, we'll be up until 2 and knock out like 3 to 4 movies.
3 to 4. Wow. All right, there you go. Yeah.
So
a lot of films.
Like we love film. And so it's just like, but I'm one of those people that you think would be sitting there like, oh, I got to watch these behind the scenes. No. I like the movie to stand for its set for itself, and maybe if I'm like supposed to be working, but I'm actually just like looking at YouTube, I might just I might be like, I remember that shot from that movie. I wonder what's up with that. I'll do it that way, but it's just So anyway, I'm not even sure how we got to that. Oh yeah, awards ceremonies. It's a good and rough time. Like it's good to celebrate the community. But a lot of people put a lot of stock into, as you should, into basically being recognized for things you've done. But at the same time, it's kind of like a, when someone, I can't remember who said it in chat, a few people did actually, but being like, well, I would pick you guys out of the list. That's enough for
I
me.
said that.
That was you. That was
Yeah,
Dakota.
I said that.
That was generally it for us. Was like, well, that's it. We don't
Yeah.
even need to win at this point. Like just being like when we was just nominated, like that was enough recognition for us to say that what we're doing is working, for it to be recognized as part of the Impies just by being nominated. Like that was enough for me. But for some people, I don't know. Maybe it's just more. I think when it comes to the Impies, I think people put too much on it. I don't know. Do you know
I think
what I
my
mean?
problem with
Yeah,
the
I agree with
Impies
you
was
100%.
this.
Yes, yes.
I think the
What's your
problem with
problem?
Impies was when it first started, it seemed like it could have been something great to recognize those great creations. As it's been going on, I personally feel, I'm gonna just say it, because I mean I'm not legally obligated to anything. I feel like the Impies is taken more as just a community fun thing, and it should be only taken as a little fun community thing, to me as a joke, but as a little fun community thing, because there are tons and tons of great creations that are out there that I personally know that are great creations. And when you have self nominations and you have people from outside coming in and judging these creations, you have no insight on what their criteria. And you look at like this new category. I'll talk about myself. Let me just keep it on myself. The evolving, whatever experience category, right? Evolving experience could mean two things. It could mean an experience that's just evolving while you're playing it, or it could mean an experience that has evolved over time of being on the platform, right? Now, my experience with Splice Adventures has evolved for 2.5 to 3 years.
Right.
And Splice has never won an Impy. We've been nominated plenty of times, and I'm grateful for that. But it unsolidifies to me and possibly to others who thought it could have been something great. Like, I would like to see when Piece of Craft finishes his kart racing game, that should be up there because to me, that's quality. When I see Acer's games, that's quality. I want to see those. I'm not all about everybody can make great work. Everybody can do
Yeah.
art. Not everybody can make great work. I think hey, let's nominate this little, if you play it for 5 minutes, you're like, oh, that's cool. Can we just say it sucks?
I feel what you're saying, but keep in mind.
I didn't see that coming.
I totally hear what you mean, and I agree with you. And James kind of mentioned this too about people taking it too seriously in a sense.
Yeah,
but
it's not a serious thing.
yeah, that's true. It's complicated. Human beings put a lot of weight into like ego, like subconsciously, consciously, and like we've all said, it just feels good to be recognized to a degree, right? Like no matter what for and so on and so forth. But man, I have so much to say on this topic. I'm glad you brought it up, James or Vicious, whoever.
It's like
The
doing a
Impy
game
stuff.
jam.
Yeah, that too. So the Impies, there's only going to be so many people who are able to be shortlisted. It's
Right.
unavoidable. At the end of the day, it is a subjective process, right? So the things that you find great, somebody else may not. And at the end of the day, this is a group of molecules and whomever they've brought in to help judge. It's their subjective view on what is great. I saw an entry for for art that looked a heck of a lot like the fox from what's that game? Okami? Heck of a lot like that Okami fox, and I thought to myself, that to me seems like a weird choice for a show that's about original creations from the community. But oh well, that's the way the cookie crumbles, right? I also saw a lot of adults who have many years of experience in some professional capacity and creativity, kind of making a harumph about not getting shortlisted. And to me, that felt inappropriate because I feel like, using myself as an example, I have huge success from Dreams. I don't need the Impy to prove to myself or anybody that I'm living my success as a game designer. And I would think that other adults in similar positions as me would have a similar attitude and say, hey, man, like I said, I nominated a bunch of stuff of my own and I got 0 shortlists. And okay, that's cool. That just makes room for other people.
Right.
And it's always going to be limited. The same, I think, attitude applies to picks. People put a lot of weight in picks, and I
do.
get it.
Yeah.
Again, it's a thing where it feels good to be recognized, and people go, I just don't understand why my creations didn't get picked. This is I've seen somebody say this is unacceptable that my creation
Wow.
doesn't have an pick, and I'm thinking to myself, you have to.
How self-entitled do you have to be to actually say that?
So not cool, in my opinion.
But you also gotta think, like, what if the picks had weight to it? Like, what if they didn't pick every single creation, like a ton of creations? What if they really limited the picks? It does take a lot of the filtering out for people. If I want to show somebody dreams, what games I'm gonna look at? I'm gonna look at the same ones over and over again because those are the quality ones. I'm not gonna show my friends something that's crap, which half the time they see, and I was like, well, there's better games. We just have to, there's better animations. We have to find them.
Yeah.
And when I have a list of honestly a whole bunch of great stuff, but when things like, you know, picks and the Impys is just the doors are open, the flood doors are open. I think it just makes it less. It shouldn't be a serious thing. It should just be a thing.
But that's what it is, though. That's the whole point of it. They've made it abundantly clear that, like, you know, the Impies is just a way of celebrating the community, and it's just a way of thanking the community for everything that was created. It was never intended to be something to say this is the best of the best in Dreams, you know, because if
so how
that
do you
was
find that is the
but
question,
if that
real
was
question.
but if that was the case in regards to the Impies, the only people that are going to win is people like Acer, Bad Robo, you know, people that are at the top of the league, so you know, you're just going to have the same people win year over year, because if it was about the top level prestigious stuff, not everybody is at that level. And for me, at least, what I get from the Impies is just a way of celebrating everybody in Dreams, regardless of your level or regardless of your skill set or how good you are at Dreams. It's just about recognizing those people in those individual categories. And I think that's why they also bring in the independent adjudicators, so it's not all tied to, oh well, Media Molecule didn't pick me. Like, you know, that's the whole reason why they've branched out and got all these other people involved within the industry to vote for these things, is so that it is more fair. So I think if it was done in the way that, I'm not sure if that's the way you're implying what you're saying, where it should just be the best of the best that gets picked, and that's why it deserves an award.
I feel like it should, because I mean, what's the point of community jams at that point?
I'll tell you what the point of community jams is, man, to stir the creative juices, right? Jam prompts are just
and
are
that's
fun
where you
opt-in,
get your community. That's where you get a little bit from the community. You get that feedback. You can submit something. You're submitting, and you can get that, and you're growing. I know. I personally know. Yes, the MPs isn't a serious thing, but like I said on the other end, it could have been a totally new thing that a company could have done if they did go the more professional route, and it would have been amazing. I don't, you know, I think it would have been amazing. But
you have to appreciate that Dreams is also not, quote unquote, a serious thing.
Correct.
Like, you know, it's
Right.
not
You sit there, just right there. It's not a serious thing.
It's not the next Unreal. If Unreal was doing an award ceremony like the Impies, then yes, I would expect the top-notch stuff in Unreal to be to win those awards, because of what Unreal is and what it stands for.
Exactly.
What Dreams stands for is a community-driven art project.
Learning experience.
You see what I mean? So that's why I don't think the way that you think the Impies should be done would even work.
No, I'm not saying the way it should.
Of what it is.
You know, I'm not saying when I'm and quote me, hear me out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it should be done this way. I'm saying we know the way they're going to do it now. That's what I'm saying. Just like you said, it's not a serious thing, and I agree with you. And I said it's not a serious thing. And if Unreal did it, it would be a serious thing. I'm just saying the mentality at when it started, it could have been, but that isn't the route they're going. Just like we're talking about the project now, the platform now, it could have been. It's not the route they're going with right now. They're going with the. Go ahead. They're going with
I'm sorry, I thought you were done. My bad. Yeah, there's also this other element too, where I think people index too highly on what thinks about what I made. And again, it's natural, it's human. It's this thing about, you know, ego, and not like ego in a bad way, right? But also recognize the fallibility and the imperfection of the humans that work at Media Molecule. They are just people with their own opinions, you know, and this kind of cuts both ways too. Actually, I've seen some cases, and again, I'm going to speak to the audience who wants to become game devs, game designers, so on and so forth, where they will submit their works, and then MM will look at them during a stream or something and say, "This is amazing. This is great work. Amazing stuff. Amazing, 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 amazing." Even if it's not amazing,
Right.
but that is their job. I don't think they should not do that. That is their job, to promote community creativity of all ranges of expertise and
Yes.
experience levels,
absolutely.
right? But that might be confusing for people like me who are like, okay, my goal is to get user feedback to make sure that I become a better designer. And if all you hear is "that's amazing," that's not helpful, really. So you also have to kind of consider who is giving you the feedback and in what capacity and context, right? And so if you're featured on a stream, whether or not you got an MM pick or not on a Tuesday or Friday stream, just enjoy the exposure, really. I mean, that's what it's about. It doesn't mean that MM is like the ultimate arbiter of what makes a good game by any stretch, but if you do get recognized, that's awesome. And if you don't, that's okay. Your turn might be next too. It's not only the tip top that get that
Right.
moment.
That's good.
And that's true. And also, it's people that actually put effort in that get, you don't just do something on the first day and throw it up. I'm thinking the first few weeks of Dreams, we were seeing just a bunch of Marios and Sonics.
Oh
and
boy.
horrible. And I was like, oh no, it's all memey, sort of blue puppets everywhere and really crappy stuff. And in fact, the first press wave of Dreams, people were like, wow, check this crazy program, and it's got the stuff from The Room or something. And I'm like, ugh, this is not a great way to start. Whereas now we're 3 years in, we're starting to see truly original, truly
We're settling in now.
Yeah, and exactly. And I think the Impies are sort of, again, they're just a tool. Same with the picks, I agree. They're just tools to stir the community up and see what bubbles to the top. But it's certainly not representative of the cream of the crop necessarily. It's just a way to keep it moving and stirring around. And I think you're right, push people that are maybe a bit maybe the tools are a little bit scary for them, and it encourages them to just try a little bit better, to get a little bit better, because after a few weeks you do go, it clicks and you start getting stronger and stronger. And maybe they should be using different metrics for these things if they want to make people feel more inclusive. I think, again, like I said before, I think we're talking about 100 people, maybe 200 people that really that grinds their gears. I think everyone else is just having fun with it.
Yeah, for the majority, you're absolutely right. For the majority, people just see it as what it is, and it's just a fun, cool thing like they do with DreamsCom every year. It's just a fun, cool thing. The Impy's the same. It's just a fun, cool thing that they don't have to do, but they do it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get off my ass a bit, because I'm out of all of you cool cats, I haven't put stuff, but I haven't actually done. I've got so many games that got to 90%, but I went, oh, I'm not done. So I'm not one of those people that can say, oh yeah, I put up all these community challenges. I've done a few things, but I'm not as prolific as I'd love to be. But I do find that when I see when they show off a few things, or when I go through the Dreamiverse every week and look through things, that's what inspires me to get off my ass and keep going on things. It's actually the community itself, the dreams themselves, the things that are on Twitter, things that I'm seeing, that gets me excited and it gets me to get moving. Whereas I think if they didn't do that, the community starts to go a bit cold, because then it's just only driven by YouTubers and only driven by individual dreamers who are pushing their own product, everyone else's.
And I think that's the problem with because they don't have multiplayer. And Dreams is a lonely platform right now. That's the reason I don't have my PS5.
Yeah, it is. It's but I think you're absolutely right. I think it feels like it's designed for the arts mentality, which is not necessarily a groupthink thing in a lot of ways. A lot of people that write music don't write music with 100 people. They write
not 100. Yeah, not 100.
A lot of people paint a painting with one brush. They don't. So it kind of lends itself to going, you're probably a creative person, and this, as you said, this is an arts engine that allows you to access that and collaborate. But I think you're right. As soon as you add multiplayer, I think it will unlock it. I remember back in the LBP days where you've had people jump into your level and stuff. That was crazy. I mean, that was 15 years ago now, 10 years ago now. It's wild that was running like it was. Some of that magic is missing from Dreams because there isn't a Sackboy, because there isn't an avatar to run around. The imp isn't really that. It's not even customizable. You know what I mean?
I think I like you, Scott.
It's not. It doesn't. It's not a person. It's not a way to visualize yourself in the game. And I think that's the thing, is it does feel a little bit cold when you have to deal with other people, and even the collaboration is really through a menu. It's not through anything else. So the multiplayer probably will again open that box up and get people to go, oh, cool. I mean, I definitely think that's something that would make me very excited about trying whole different genres of games and as well.
It's less
I
of
would
a
probably
game
make
and more of a
games.
tool. It's a tool right now. Well, for the vast majority of us, I mean, how many people just play Dreams, like the games for Dreams? I know I've seen a lot of people that like check with Dreams like every week or something. But if there was multiplayer, people like I can see a lot of players like coming back like every day and just playing fun games.
Yeah.
But right now
you see this empty spot on my desk? This is where my PS5 was.
I
It
see
is
the
not here.
controllers.
You know, I got all my PlayStation controllers, but
Yeah.
it's like, you know, if they had multiplayer, I would make my favorite fun little zombie running game. You with 4 of your friends online, see who taps the X button the fastest, where the zombies are chasing after you, and whoever doesn't, they get eaten. That's a
There you
fun
go.
little game you can make in Dreams and play along with your friends. But right now, you have to have 4 friends and 4 PlayStation 5 controllers. That's kind of hard to come by. So I
Well,
mean,
also,
for me,
if you're
there's
trying to
no
do
way.
asymmetric gameplay as well, there's the potential there is incredible for
Oh,
independent
yeah.
play.
It's
And
incredible. I
again,
have
that's not just
nightmares
couch
about how you would go
co-op
on to test that.
Yeah, exactly. There's got to be it's got to be on the roadmap in the next year. Yeah, really? At this point?
I don't know. I feel like I said, that it's why I brought up the thing about like not saying any names, but like a lot of the times, like is just like we wish we could move as fast as the community wants us to, because we want to see this too.
Yeah,
and
every studio does.
Yeah. So I mean,
I wish my game was out too, but it's not, because it takes a long time.
When you see through the job ads they run quite often, they're quite public about that, and even their Trello boards and stuff. If you have a look at those, you can sniff out a little bit of what they're thinking of doing. And it seems there's a lot of back-end service stuff. There's a lot of online stuff. There's a lot of they have a lot of community people. And they're still constantly hiring new blood in. So and again, this is, like we said before, this isn't something that's raking in the dough. Right. So they're obviously, the fact that they're still growing as a studio means that there is stuff in the works. But I think you're right. It's just the nature of like doing a film doesn't take 2 weeks. It takes 2-3 years. Same with game development, and I think a game engine probably more so.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Dreams and its evolution and where it's going, I think the whole thing is just a whole trust the process situation. Like they want to do this stuff. They clearly got the budget to increase their meat at the studio. They're continuously hiring. They wouldn't be doing that if they weren't prepping up for something, because they made Dreams with 40 people. They could easily sustain Dreams and just keep patching it with 40 people. So the fact that they're continuously hiring shows the positivity that Dreams is going to evolve even more at some point, and it's just a matter of just waiting for it. Just enjoy Dreams for what it is at the moment and stick with it, and these features will come. And if you're not prepared to wait, then that's fine. Like we've said before, there is plenty of other alternatives out there for you. But if you're a hobbyist and you like what you're doing, and at some point you'd like to maybe think of doing this as a profession or going serious with it, then just stick with it. Apparently it's going to happen. Otherwise they wouldn't be hiring the way they are.
Stick with it. Make sure that you're filling your knowledge voids that you can't fill in Dreams somewhere else. Study a lot. Play games, not just games you love, but also games that maybe you don't love, and ask yourself why. That's the biggest thing that I've done. I think that's the easiest thing you can do if you want to be a game designer, is understand why something is fun. And so if you're going to play a game and your analysis is that's garbage, you're not thinking hard enough. You need to really dig in and understand what that thing is doing to your brain to make you feel good or bad.
I've never thought of like I all the time I try to play games that just to learn like what they do and like what makes them fun and stuff. I've never thought of playing games that I don't think I would like just to learn those as well. Probably because I would get bored or something. But I don't know.
One of my mentors told me anybody can make it, and this is like kind of flippant because it's not true, but you'll feel me. Anybody can make a game they like. It's way harder to make a game you don't like. And because it requires empathy, which is a big part of game design, is putting your brain in somebody else's head and saying like what makes them tick, not just what makes you tick.
Dude, I don't know. I think it would be. It's very hard to make a game I like. Well, I guess okay, that I'm happy with.
Yeah,
I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
Yeah, that's just
But-
the artist's curse, though, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. But Dakota, I'm
I-
curious, really quick. You never
Yeah.
said like how you got the job. You said like what you you made your like YouTube videos and stuff, but like how did you get an interview? I'm like
So, okay, so it's
I'm really curious.
it's again like more to it than just like dreams, and I think maybe that's worth mentioning too. Is like don't just rely on making a thing in dreams and thinking that's it. You're going to go from that to having a job. I have for like many years been pushing my career in the direction that's going to facilitate me getting a game designer job. I'm like you. I have a comp sci degree. I was an engineer. I used to write RESTful web services as my day job. And then I'm like, man, I don't want to like look at code all day. So I decided to move from that to be a product manager instead because the technical experience helps, right? Understanding why. And product management is funny because it's actually like game design for not games. You decide what features are in a piece of software to elicit an experience on the user, which is, it sounds a lot like game design, right? And then I got a job at BattleNet as a PM. And then from there, it was like, a series of like, okay, from there, I went from PM on BattleNet to being a producer on Diablo 4. And then from there, leveraging my experience in Dreams in my portfolio, I was able to say, hey, look, do I have a shot? I had to go through the process like anybody did.
So you got in as a project manager and then transferred. So a project manager of a game? Or
No, I was originally I was a PM on a back end service at BattleNet.
on a back end server. Okay, all right.
It was like like a API gateway, man. It was like very dry stuff.
So you're saying I need to become a web developer for Media Molecule's website,
There you
and then
go.
no, I'm kidding. I've given up on.
I was back end, by the way. Back end, not front end.
No, but still, like, I've personally I'm just gonna focus on my own thing. Because like, I've realized even if I hate working for other people. I hate it. Like, I absolutely hate it unless maybe I get like rev share or something. But at that point, I'm working for myself. So I'm just gonna do my own thing.
Yeah. And I think my road is not everybody's road though, but the point is you need to have a plan. Like it's a road and it wasn't a road I was just like winging it on. It was like, sorry about my dog. This is the way to do, this is what I need to do to get to where I want to be, And that was just executing on the plan.
Well, great job succeeding.
Yeah, you done well.
That's fantastic.
Now let me talk about me.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Let's get it out there. Let's get it out there. Okay. So for me, I now work for Unite. And Unite is my brother's company.
Okay.
And it's a small startup company. Now, I did not start working for my brother's company right away. I started staying with Dreams for those years. And then after about maybe 3 or 4 months, the money is running out. I got to pay the bills. I got to figure something out because I just got my house built or whatever. So I'm like, I don't think I'm good enough. I didn't think I could do game design outside of Dreams. That's the reason I stayed with Dreams. I stayed with Dreams hoping that they would get there, hoping I could wait it out. And eventually it came to the point where I'm not gonna lie. Let's be transparent, guys. I cried. I cried hard. I worked 3 years on Splatties, got hours of games, hoping that it could become something more, not wanting to accept that I might have to either get another job or really the scary part, go into Blender, go
You
into
had like savings?
Unreal.
Or like,
Oh,
because you're not making money doing Splatties, right? Or
oh no. I was running off my own money.
yeah,
That's what a lot of people
Okay.
didn't realize. Like when you're running off your own money, you're putting all your eggs in the basket. Now, what I did was I put all my eggs in the basket for experience, and that's great.
I was
So
gonna
after
say,
my-
yeah. What was your plan? Like, you're making Splatties on Dreams. You're not dumb. You know that you're not gonna be able to
Right.
sell it. Like, what was your plan? Kickstarter, or was that? Because I know you tried to do that.
I mean, I can't fully. The Kickstarter was one. I
Yeah.
know a lot of people, and there's here's those. I can't say them, but
Oh, okay, fair enough.
you
All
get
right,
me.
all right.
So then, like, I know some people who would back me up in trying to figure out what's my next step. I did have maybe a slight fallback on what could possibly be next, but when the money was running out and I was literally at bottom's end, I'm like, I need to figure this out. I will freaking learn Unreal because I'm also making sure that my wife can go through college while I'm paying the bills. So it's up to me. And when I was at rock bottom, I said, forget it. And I told my brother, I'm like, if I can learn this, will you give me a job? And he said to me, I know you have the experience. I worked with you in Dreams. You have the experience. I'm hiring people and I'm looking at their resumes. They're not cutting it. He said, if you learn, I will hire you. And from
Awesome.
that day forth, I had a big weight lift off my chest. And I got into Unreal and I asked the people that went through college and know the stuff how to do what they do. And when I realized I didn't know how to do game design, it was really just me being scared and saying I couldn't do something. And
You were
now
doing
that
it
I
for 3
know
years.
exactly, and
You
now that
know?
I know
Yeah.
I can do it, I feel like with any if there's another small company, I could apply for it and I'll be totally fine because I seen what my work is. I seen what I can do with Blender. I seen what I can program. I seen what I can do with this. But I was just so scared because I didn't think I could do it because I was all in Dreams. But when I realized that, and then my brother hired me, and then I started to see all the people he came in, I'm like, how do I know more than you on game design? How do I know more than you on level
Yeah.
design?
You
It's
did
because
stuff.
of all the
Yeah.
experience I did, all the videos on YouTube, all the game maker toolkits, all the looking
Watch
at
a lot of
games
GMK.
saying, yep, looking at the videos of bad games saying, why is it bad? Playing video games, Mario Odyssey. Why don't I like Mario Odyssey? I don't like their level design. It's not the same level design principles that they used to have. And just really getting it, all that experience and information. I'm one of the top people in his company now
Awesome.
because not because I'm his brother, because trust me, you don't mix money and family. It's just that's a no-go. You don't do it. But because I know the principles of game design and animation and all this stuff from Dreams, and then I was able to apply my learnings and how I learn into these other engines and then push forward. And so that's why I got that job. And I was hush hush about it because I know a lot of people won't accept it. But the real reason is, why wouldn't you accept it? If when the first thing I did when I got in, I realized how easy it was from Dreams, first person that popped in my head was, oh, Acer. That's what happened. I'm like, if we ever need somebody and he could, he could afford it, I'm gonna ask Acer, does he want a job? Because I know half the people that send in junk
And
resumes, they're not going to cut it versus somebody who I've seen their work for 3 years.
are you in Unreal?
Yes, we're in Unreal. We're in Unreal Engine 5.
Interesting.
Yep.
Ooh.
I'm curious. So like that's how you got a job. What did your
Well,
brother do? Like he started a
hold-
freaking game dev.
Hold
Oh,
on
what's
one
up?
second. Hold on one
Yeah, it is.
second for
It's
me.
almost 5.
I just wanted to give a word up because Dax or Dakota gotta go. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for joining us.
Thank you very
And
much.
Yeah, it's
we'll
great.
have
Thanks for having me.
We'll have to get you back on for a solo at some point.
Cool. It's
Absolutely.
a pleasure talking to all of you guys. Have a good one.
You too.
See you
Thanks,
later.
Dakota. Bye.
See you. And to answer that question is a lot of people have opportunities out there, and some people have to make their opportunities. And he's been fortunate enough to be able to give me an opportunity, and him to have the opportunities to be able to support this studio. Now,
Yeah.
money isn't infinite, so right now we're looking at trying to get some epic mega grants and looking at Microsoft. That's really where your money comes from, is
Right,
getting
the
that,
platform deals.
and it still comes from how much are you willing to put in yourself. How much you want to put in yourself. But the difference is, I know when I'm putting this in, no matter what, we can get some out because we can put it on the store and it can be crap, and you sell it on the Steam store for like $5, or we can put forth everything and sell a game that's going to be great. And right now, like I said, our greatest achievement is having 40 players online when we're doing our testing with our cars. It's becoming great. It takes time and it is challenging. And I welcome you guys to join our Discord and stuff like that too, because it's a process. I came from knowing really nothing to now working with people who know a lot, who've paid $70,000 to go to college and can ask me, KJ, what do I do? What do you need me to do? And that's just because of experience.
I get the sense that during the moment, the low point, like how long did it take you? I guess you said this already, but at what point was it where that, like, how do I put it? You recognize the experience as the experience. Like, was it just when the people started coming up to you or when you saw their resumes, or, because you were explaining a low point where it was just like, oh God, what am I going to do?
Oh, it was low. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, believe me, I've already told my story about being in tears on my way back from LA. So I understand. But yeah, so it's, I guess it's less of a question and more of just I guess just being on a path. It's like the journey to get to where you're going. And when you can look back and really see that it wasn't all for nothing, that you were
Right.
always working towards this final goal. And it must be great.
Yeah,
It must feel great.
It's definitely, for me, it's definitely great. Probably the best years of my life because I'm doing the thing that I love and I'm paying my bills. Before I started Spotties, I was working a 40-hour job, pushing paper, making good money. I was making great money. I'll tell you that. I was making good money. I'm a hard worker. I will always push myself. And I was working my way up almost to, like, I started in a warehouse factory and I got inside the office and got some raise, made it to salary. That's the kind of hard worker I was. From where I live at, that's like a normal thing. With no college background, I'm obviously I'm black, so there's a lot less money to propel you forward. So all this is self-taught perseverance. And then when I decided I was going to quit my job at that secured position where you got money security, it wasn't fulfilling to me. I was in there pushing paper, thinking about Splatties 24/7, and I told my boss, "Hey, I'm thinking about leaving." He said, "I will, I'm there for you." He said, "I come in your office and I see energy, I see excitement." He said, "Let me know what I need to do to get you to the next step, and I will figure it out and we can figure it out together." And I said, "Well, let me try Dreams." And then he let me quit my job and he supported me with, just a lot of things and encouragement. And this is my CEO, my boss. And that stuff really propelled me forward, thinking I could do it in Dreams. And then when I hit bottom in Dreams, that's another rock bottom. And I'm like, well, now what? I I gotta figure it out. I want to go back because it's embarrassing to have to go back. Of course, I can go anywhere else, but instead, I saw my brother was working on his game, and I said, "Hey, let me just apply." And then when I did that, he brought me on, and then I started at the bottom. And I was like, "I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that," and I was scared to tell anybody anything. But I slowly worked my way up, and then I was like, "Well, let's bring my game tester, PB Gamer, on because he's really good at breaking games. And he's still doing the same stuff, and we brought him on board, and he's breaking our game, and it's just like a whole
It's
thing
awesome.
that's moving up. And now all we gotta do is make sure we get the funding to continuously do it. And if we, let's say, worst case scenario, because I always like think, what if? Well, guess what? I now know I'm confident enough to apply at other companies because of the work I've been able to produce for working for my brother and working with people who had the experience.
Can I ask you that, considering how much time you put into Splatties, is it something that you might revisit and develop it? Would you be interested in redeveloping that?
100%.
Yeah.
We've even talked about it. We talked about having Splice Adventures a Dream Edition and also making Splice Adventures in Unreal. And we wanted to do. I was gonna start Splice Adventures in Unreal this year, but instead, if I started this year, it wouldn't be on, like, I wouldn't be getting paid to do it. Is
Right.
I need the money, so I'm gonna do my brother's game first. And if we make it big or we start doing good and we start blowing up, then I'm going to definitely make Splice Adventures Unreal, unless Dreams say, "Hey, maybe you can make your game." Well, I don't gotta start from square zero. I have 3 years worth of work right here. All I gotta do is finish out the last whatever, tweak some things, and now I have a Dreams Edition version.
Because you got like an
Yeah.
original IP there, so it's almost like coming in as a
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
director with IP to a studio rather than creating as part of the workforce as well.
Correct. Yep. We've Splice Adventures trademarked everything.
You're in a
We're
studio now.
set.
I mean, like the studio's next game. Have you guys considered like just doing it, like, and
As
not as your own
Spotties.
project? Yeah, like
It's
Um it's not my place to say. So it's like if it was my place, yeah, it'd go for it. But I'm not the studio head. I don't, you know.
Well, I'm
not
saying,
gonna-
like,
yeah.
are they interested? I don't know. Like,
I think
after your main game, or
I think it just depends on the route this game goes. I think a lot of
Sure,
people would.
yeah.
It's way. I'll tell you, it's way easier than a racing game because the racing game takes physics and stuff like that. And when you do multiplayer, you got to do predictions and calculations and all that stuff. Whereas Splatty's Adventures, it was supposed to be a multiplayer game, but it's a platformer. Platforming multiplayer online is a lot easier than a racing game multiplayer online. So
Yep.
it would be way easier to do than to be making body kits and cities and wheels and customizations. It looks good, but it is a lot to take in. So we jumped in kind of on the hardest end of the game design. That's why you don't see a lot of car games. I know why. It's hard.
Multiplayer part, yeah.
Yeah, multiplayer it's hard, but we got it up and running.
That's awesome. I'm curious, like, did you guys like do a Kickstarter? Like, how are you funding this? Like, did you get funding from like, I don't even know, or is it just your brother's own money, or
He's
or
rich.
he's rich? Yeah. Okay. So it is. Okay.
This
I'm
is it
curious
then.
because I'm wondering because I
But
plan
It
on.
always helps.
But
Oh,
money,
It always helps.
that I mean, you have to have it to kind of start, but money, like I said, money isn't infinite. It's you gotta get funding. Funding is
Right. Right.
important, and so that helped us get the ball rolling. Now our team has to carry it forward.
Make it profitable, of course.
Yeah, and if it's not profitable, just like any other company, you dissolve. And that's what
Right.
startup companies. That's why it's hard to do a startup company, and a lot of people don't want to, put in that extra time. So you got to be able to put in that extra time. And of course, for me working on Spotties, I know how to put in extra time. I put in plenty of extra time, for
Oh yeah.
less. And so putting extra time for, a paycheck. Sure, you can tell me anything. I love what I do. I'm doing game design. So yeah,
Yep.
I mean that is how it goes. And like I said, we're trying to talk to Microsoft and Epic and see if we can get maybe Epic, at least Epic has the open Epic grants, but you have to meet a certain criteria. And so right now, as we're leading for it, we're trying to meet that criteria before we present it to them.
Right.
Because it's pointless to present an unpolished product, which they probably see a whole bunch of. So as we work towards it, we're going to present it to them. And like I said, in our Discord, you can see currently what we're working on because we're open with our community. We're the team is always trying to keep the community involved to show like, hey, we don't want to give false ideas because we know how that goes, but we want to give ideas that we're working towards. And
Cool.
I that's why I say when I'm working inside this company and seeing how tough it can be on you if you're not passionate about it. And I look back at Dreams and Meet a Molecule, I appreciate everything that they did and everything that they did for me. I do. I appreciate everything they did, everything they did before me. I understand why some things take longer. I understand the patience they have and everything they do. I personally just wish it could have been more because that would still be the tool I would use today.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Same.
I'm using Unreal and that's where my path has led me.
Do you have your Discord link to drop in
Yeah,
chat?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead
You
and
guys have
drop
like a
it.
YouTube channel or something, or like does the studio? Do you post like
Yeah, like, do you have a
updates or something?
website or?
Well,
I'd
no,
love to
we don't
like
have a
see this.
website yet. Let me see if I can
Fair enough. Do you need a
share the
website?
yeah. that's a nice plug.
No, I'm joking. Oh, am I joking?
No,
I
you
don't know.
you
No,
ain't.
no,
You
you
ain't
weren't.
joking,
No,
man.
you
They
were
called this.
joking, Asa. Calm
There you
down.
go.
You know you were
bro,
not.
just own
There
it.
you go.
It's fine.
I don't like
Yeah.
making websites. It's just what I do as a job.
Yo, we have the same
respect the hustle.
I'll
job.
send it to you and then
We
you
have the
your
just
same
job?
job.
post it. And then you
Wait,
just copy that post
you make websites?
So
I didn't actually
we'll,
know what your job.
we'll get back to this. But yeah, did you say you dropped it, or are you
Yeah,
looking
I
for
just
it?
dropped it to you
Oh,
because my phone's dead, so I don't have it.
Oh no, oh no. I would have to destroy the setup.
Oh no! Oh, don't do that.
But no, I'm doing it a different way. Oh, of course. Anyway, so while I get this, Jamie, take over. You've been quiet.
I have been quiet. I've just been quietly listening to everything. But yes, Mighty does do website design. Same as you, Asa. So that's actually quite interesting. But it is interesting though, Addy. Like the journey that you've taken and the way that your world has evolved. Would you consider going back to Dreams if everything that you want, like exportation or multiplayer and all these things come back? Would that entice you enough to sort of go back and go your own way again and try and get Splatty the way you want it and leave the company you're working on? Like, what would happen if all this happened?
I think if Dreams went the way I wanted it to go, I think yeah, I will probably go back to Dreams. It is fast. It's fast. It's 20 times faster. It's so much faster to develop in Dreams, and it's funner, I think. It's nice. And then you mix in multiplayer, that's a perfect world. Um it's always on the back of our minds because Splatty is not gonna, it might take 10 years from now, but will be a game. It will be a game. My vision is to see Splatties on the Switch because
That'd be amazing.
it's that
It is the
quality.
perfect platform for it.
I agree.
Yeah, and I want to see that. And I've been playing my Switch a little bit more now, buying different games, looking at the Nintendo store, and I'm just like, there's not a lot of games. And when
The
I look,
Nintendo store is disgusting.
yeah,
I hate it so much. Like they will literally put anything on there. Like anything.
It's bad.
It's
Yeah.
disgusting.
it's like I
Just-
want to play quality games, and
Right.
and that's where, for me, like my wife, she has a Switch too, and she plays games, and I'm starting to notice, like, I teach at a dance studio, so I have like 200 some kids I teach. When they saw Splatty's Adventures, some of them bought a PS5, and
Wow.
that made me feel great. Now, the fact that it is hard for them to get it's getting easier for them to get PS5, but like, I don't want to have to say I discontinued it. I didn't discontinue Splatties. I just had to put it on hold because life your household comes first versus just a pipe dream,
Mhm.
And so as we're working towards building ourselves up, I always have these ideas of like, well, multiplayer, I'll go play Dreams. I'll make a quick game for people to play to enjoy because I'm a passionate game designer, but I also love video games, and so that is my hobby. I kind of do everything. The me My brother making a car game isn't just because he just wanted a car game. He's passionate about cars and he knows a lot about cars. And I don't know if you guys seen my car. I'm passionate about cars. I have a custom car, and it's sick and I love it, and my car is great, so I drive and I'm happy. When I'm at home, I'm gaming and I'm happy. And then when I'm at work, I'm developing and I'm happy. To me, that's the perfect triangle.
That's awesome.
The Trinity.
It's
Of
rare to
happiness.
love what you're doing in your job.
Yeah,
That's
very
that's
rare.
really
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
What is that saying? You love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Well, I know
So-
I'm certainly working, so
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm working
it's
right
always
now,
A journey. It's always a
actually.
journey. Yep.
you're working hard, Asa. Working hard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm on call. I actually don't feel bad at all. I consider myself on call. I've actually finished what I needed to do today by like
Yeah.
2. So
I actually got a
Okay.
contract while we were doing the podcast. So
Nice.
yeah, it's
nice.
just but
Nice.
I can honestly say that, especially listening to this, and I've said it in certain ways in other episodes, but I approached Dreams the wrong way. I
How'd
truly
you approach?
did.
How did you approach Dreams?
My ideas and my knowledge didn't match up, but I just couldn't let go of the ideas.
Mhm.
Like I had waited so long.
I
Yeah.
think
so
you find that that's
long
a common
that's-
occurrence with a lot
that-
of people in Dreams, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's
Yeah.
like, but it's
Not a Dreams
especially
thing,
the more
by the
we
way.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, but it's just
Everyone wants
you
to
know
make their massive game.
every time I talk with people, like when when we did the masterclass and all the other episodes of this show, I just keep hearing what people do and like how they reach where they're going. And every time I have to sit back after the show and like go back through it while I'm doing all the prep for getting the thing places. And I'm just like, yeah, I didn't do that. And I think that would have helped
Yeah.
because like and it's just so I just keep hearing things like as I think I was telling you, Acer, not too long ago, but one of the things that I've kind of resigned myself to is that I'm good at something. I'm not good at everything. So I need to focus on what I'm good at, but also still try to learn and pick up those other things. But I would just dive in so deep to every idea until it like I could see the project, but I didn't have the know-how, the knowledge to put it all together. And I would just bang my head into it until I was just like, I got to take a break. Like this, like it's like I'll move on to this, and maybe I'll do better with this. And I realized that I made like the more and more we do this show, the more and more I realize exactly where it is that my initial venture into Dreams went wrong, and what I'm trying to fix now, like what I'm trying to go back and do right now on.
Yeah.
It's just enlightening. Like that's why I love hearing people talk about basically the journey. I mean, yeah, but it's just I agree with I think it was it Acer or was it where you said
What's up?
working for other people?
Oh, I
Acer,
just I can't do it. It feels like a massive waste of time unless I'm also like heavily invested in the project, and which
Yeah,
I
probably
mean, if
not.
you're working for other people, you probably aren't. You might be, of course,
Yeah.
but
I sometimes think of working for people just to be notoriously unreasonable. Like I don't know. Like
What do you mean?
I was talking with my wife
Yeah.
last night actually, and she gets frustrated with her job and some other stuff. And I've like listened off to the side of one of their meetings, and she like they'll hit her with like the corporate jargon, and I just lose it. Like I'm
Yeah.
crying laughing, and I'm just like, why can't anybody just I know this is kind of off point, but I always feel like why can't everyone just be real? Like someone's like, yeah, everybody's excited to go back into the office after COVID. And hey, we ran a test, and one of the people were like, oh, I feel so great in the office. I'm like, did they tell you that though? Did they? And I kind of want the job just so I could be there for that moment.
Yeah,
Really?
really?
Did you really hear that, or are you shitting me? I need to know if no, but anyway, back to the point. It's just and I was trying to take a break from Dreams, and it ended up leading into injury, which is why I haven't been around except for in the podcast. But when this is done, I'm going hard. I'm going hard to get that experience that my boy KJ talking about, and basically just try to really zero in because it's I really, like I said, I really have been, I think, just doing it wrong, like focusing on the wrong things, putting too much pressure, losing the fun of the creation, and
I mean, it's what are you doing it for? Like, what's like, you gotta think about like, why are you even doing this? Like, I don't know, why are you using Dreams? Are you trying to like make a finished product, or are you trying to have fun? Before I answer, why? Yeah, I'm curious.
I think no matter what, it has to be for fun. Because if it's not for fun for me, then as you were pointing out, then it's a job. And if it's a job, well, I just gave y'all I just gave y'all just a into my mind. Like I used to be a very young and patient man. I am not that anymore. I used to be able to take a lot and just keep on trucking. That's not me anymore. Now it's just like, if I don't enjoy what I do, then I'm not doing it. And that applies to everything. And so it's just like, so, but my point, like my whole thing with Dreams was the idea that I want to tell stories. And I want to tell stories at the quality and clip that I know is possible. That's it. That's my goal. Now, if I take that and then use it to pitch it elsewhere, I do want to work live action. Like, I do want to do that. But like, my goal in Dreams was just, I've been waiting forever to tell these stories. Things haven't worked out to give me other venues to do it. Let me do it this way and focus more in the realm of, you know, what I have built. And what I have built is a lot of things, including my own business, but this channel. And I would love to be able to share my stories with whoever wants to see them, this or the YouTube. And and that's just that. I've kind of become simple. I've become very simple. And it's just like, I don't need a lot to be happy. I'm not as complicated as I seem. But yeah, it's just, if I were to make money off of it, that'd be great. But that's not even in my it's not even in my thing. Like, because once it starts to become demands and all that stuff, if it turns into a job, I lose. Well, I'm not going to lose interest. I'm going to be that guy that's like, are you shitting me? Because it's just it's just like who I am now, where it's just like, you know, I want to create my stories. I want to get the stories out there. I'm familiar with YouTube and having like 50 views on a video. and every time I see it, I'm like, God damn, 50 views. Awesome. That's literally my viewpoint. I know most people, including Acer, you know, King Dingaling over here. I mean, he's used to seeing other, you know, bigger numbers. But I'm saying, for me, I recognize where I kind of am, because I've kind of been steered away from, not steered away from, but it hasn't worked out, is what I would say. It hasn't worked out in what you see as your future when you're a young man with dreams that haven't died, like they play Elden Ring on repeat. But you know, as it comes down to, like, I haven't lowered my scope. I still want to make movies. I'm still going to make a movie. I've worked on stuff in the past. I've been a part of other people's projects, and now it's just like me. I want to do me. I want to put my thing out there. And I've gone the wrong way about it, because Dreams, what everyone thinks Legos is, or excuse me, that's the wrong way to put it. What everyone loves about Legos, that's how I feel about Dreams. And Legos never interested me. I've never been a Lego guy. That's just not my thing. But Dreams is like the thing where I look back and it's like, if I had this when I was a kid.
Right.
Like, if I had been able to develop myself on this like program, whatever, like, it's like, you know, when you look and go, man, I wish I had started guitar earlier. You know, it's like one of those things. Yeah. So, I mean, that's all Dreams is to me, is a way for me to talk with people and to create. And whatever comes of that, because I do feel there's certain things that hard work will get you. But there's a lot that happens literally by chance. And most people that I feel like have talked about, you know, their exposability within Dreams. Sometimes, as Dakota was mentioning, I think sometimes people have a false impression of how much exposure they would get anywhere else. And I don't know if I don't like, yeah, you'd be able to put your stuff out on stores, but I feel like whether or not you would see any further playback or even less.
Yeah.
But
You see,
because of
that is the great
because of
that is
how
a great
It's
point.
tough.
because of
like,
how
you can
big it is,
easily-
and you're not moving with a marketing team like
Yeah,
most of these
exactly.
places. So it's like, I don't know. It's just like, I love where KJ put it, where it was just like, he had the rough time, the tears in eyes, like, oh my God, my life, what am I doing? Like, what's about to happen? But then being able to get to that point where it's like, yeah, but that was experience. And now being able to look back on that, that's really the point I've been trying to get across. Especially, even when we were speaking with not Shane Marshall, who's another one I'd like to have back on here. Oh God, what was it? I can't remember the name, but we were talking about a whole conversation about what should you do while you wait for dreams, like to monetize if it monetizes, and and one of my main points was focus on your game and iron it out. Like actually iron it out so it is flawless. Get it play tested as much as you can. Iron out every little kink, and then if you're doing like you move on from dreams. At some point, if you hear that dreams when that you can export now or you can monetize now, you can get a huge bump just from being the most solid game available, or at least a solid game that's available. Now that's a big if to wait on, so I understand moving on, but I do think, like it's been said, that experience and where that can take you is just super important. I'm so glad you brought it up. So anyway, I've been going on for like.
Remember too that like I think monetization or being able to sell your product or get it out, that doesn't ensure success either. It doesn't mean it's
Not at
going to be
all.
Yeah, that was going to be my point. Yeah.
And even if you love the idea and think it's the best, yeah. So that's the other thing too, is the expectation has to match. I mean, even in film and TV, there's what they call development hell, where a producer will have a script and they'll shop it around for 5-10 years before it doesn't get picked up, and they'll put a lot of money into rewrites and things and meetings and flights and things and stuff, and it's sad when it doesn't go anywhere, and that's why they all have 5-6 projects going at once.
Right.
And I think it's the same with game devs too. You put all your eggs in one basket, but it doesn't actually ensure success, and that can be just as soul destroying. Going, I did all the things I was supposed to do, and still nobody played it, or I got more plays when it was free in Dreams than I did when it was for sale. I mean, good developers, as KJ was saying before, you have to actually deliver on the investment. You do actually have to look at it as a business then. And there's no point in just starting. I mean, look at all these Kickstarter scams, or I don't know, Star Citizen even can't get its game. It's got 500 million. And I'm sure people still say, oh, this isn't right, this isn't right. So that's the thing, is we've also, dreamers do set that bar awfully high and put a lot of pressure on themselves. And that pressure can simply transfer into the other engines that you go to too. So it's about sort of keeping your mental health about your project as well, and knowing that realistically it's still, if you want to make money, then make something that's more generic, make something that's on more platforms, make something that's more accessible, or the production is cheaper. But if you've got an idea that you really want to fight for, you do have to accept that it may not resonate with everyone, but then you'll get happiness from just getting that out of your head.
Exactly.
Great.
So
Yeah.
I had one last thing, and I know you might have to leave us, KJ. Just let me know when you have to. But Scott, I was wondering, because I don't know if I brought him up to you last time you were on the show. Have you looked at the work of Gianni Turismo on YouTube? The guy who he takes his creations within Dreams and he puts them into real footage.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
And
does a fantastic job at it.
he has this one called I think it's like Strange Ships, and he just took all of his sketched out alien ship designs and made them in Dreams, and then took them from Dreams and put them in footage, and it looks amazing. So
I've always been. I'll check his stuff out, but yeah, obviously I run a studio and employ about 4 people, so I'm always tempted to go, could we stick all this in some footage, or vice versa, And I think you've spoken about Powder before. she does short films where she'll build things in Dreams and then composite them into live action and does all this other cool stuff. And it's like short films and music videos where she uses Dreams aggressively to create some of the set pieces behind real people, and you wouldn't be able to tell it wasn't a set. But yeah, I love when people actually start integrating the live action with some of the Dream stuff. It's I don't think you'd spot it. And again, it's like if you want to write a novel, it wouldn't matter if you wrote it with your hand or a typewriter or a word processor if it's good. So I think if someone does something in Dreams and composites it and people go, it looks great, they're not going to go, oh, well, that wasn't done in Blender. Oh, it's crap then, you know?
Yeah.
That's why it's frustrating you can't export, because like I want more people to see it.
Yeah, well, I think I've seen people use, text tools for the green screen and then keying it back in After Effects or something. It's all possible. Yeah.
It's green screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I mean, like, there's the one with the ships. There's one where he has like 2 robots on the side of the road.
Yeah,
and the robots are fully animated in Dreams. And it looks fantastic. Like, his compositing skills are insane.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah. And it's just like, he's the only person I've seen do it.
Yeah.
And so I've been looking at more people. Like, I have a friend who has a production studio, and I've been trying to get him into Dreams. He's like the last friend holdout I have who hasn't been swayed. But he's like, dude, I have kids. And I'm like, well, then get them on it. He's like, they're not old enough. I'm like, make them old enough. But yeah, like, it's just that, and like stuff where like robots from Dreams kicking a soccer ball back and forth on like a basketball court, and I just look at it,
and you would never know that it was a Dreams asset either. Like, it literally looks no different than anything done in After Effects or 3D Max. It just looks no different. It's incredible the way that he gets it so finely detailed and so accurate in their positioning, like with the compositing. It's just incredible the way that he does it. He really is a truly unique dreamer.
I've been trying to get him for ages.
Well, you should. I mean, that's the thing, is any experiential use of Dreams is interesting to me. We focus a lot on game dev because obviously we should. But I've seen people do art books where all their artwork, they print out a few books. I love that sort of stuff. We're seeing I think Tannic Alloy or someone like that does where they'll sort of patch the real world into Dreams, or that image printer that someone did.
Yeah.
That's always fun too. Even I ended up play a bit with synths and stuff, and I ended up driving synth clock rates through a square on the screen in Dreams so that I could drive the logic in synthesizers using a clock signal from a corner of the television with like a light sensor, basically, just for fun. But I love the fact that you can, even though it's it's clunky. But yeah, it's so cool to see people using it in a sort of an experiential way. Because it's just a toolbox, really. In fact, I'd love to see some kind of, it never happened, but like a breakout box where you plug it into the PS4 or something, you get some outputs, and you can actually, you can patch it into the real world. It'd be super fun. But maybe someone can kickstart that.
Sounds like a PC port to me. I'm playing. I'm playing.
Oh man.
So, yeah, I believe that we've once. Oh yeah, I mean, just to go through chat real quick, there is our friend Coinum in chat who did the image importer into Dreams. Yeah, and then
that was some incredible work. Like,
yeah,
I've watched his videos of like how he concepted it and how he produced it and everything, and like it just blows my mind that people come up with these ideas of using different parts of Dreams that for not their intended purpose to create something else. And I love that outside of the box thinking. Like, it just really blows my mind when people do stuff like that. Yeah, amazing work. Seriously.
Char said, did you guys talk about the guy who exported that 3D Chappie sculpt from Dreams? Yes, we did. We did, and we'll be talking more about that on I believe it's the 17th, when we are going to have that creator on the show.
That's going to be fun.
Nice.
It's going to be extremely fun because I've been looking at that Chappie for quite a while now. And I'm just like, because I think that they worked on just that for an entire year. and
Wow.
it looks like it. It's
Yeah, it definitely
super
shows its
detailed.
time. Yeah.
It looks like someone straight up took it out of the movie, and then of course it's a movie, so I'm in. But anyway, yeah. So I also love the tannic alloy or whatever. Yeah, that is just crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Like I just wait. I'll scroll through. Oh boy, here we go. I know it's.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
I'm about to
that's
see
exactly.
something real crazy.
Oh boy.
But yeah,
what's he doing today? Cooking? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Literally
yeah.
cooking.
yeah. Saw that earlier.
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't know.
we've reached.
I
the
think that's
end.
it. I think we're good.
Been a good show, guys.
You know what? I want to take a moment. Everybody shout out like what you're working on, where you want to direct people to, what they should be looking up to find you. Let me know.
Want me to go
Somebody
first?
start. Yeah, sure.
So I am currently working on creating a game in Godot that I prototyped in Dreams, and I'm 99% of the development I'm streaming. And I'm also trying to put devlogs out. And I plan on publishing this game to Steam. If you're interested in tower defenses, if you're interested in roguelite tower defenses, if you're interested in watching me program it, consider checking my streams out.
Cool.
You probably know where to find me, but yeah, okay. There's YouTube, and then Twitch is, the same name. So that's what I'm doing right now. I think it's pretty cool.
I have been watching in the background.
Have
what
you
you've been
really?
doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I have been watching the background because it's interesting to see you work in another engine, and how that differentiates from how you work in Dreams. And it's really interesting to see how the whole thought process is kind of similar to Dreams, but the delivery is different. Like it's just
cool.
really cool to see that.
It's cool how much is similar. Now, there's a lot that's not. Don't get me wrong, but like it's cool to see the crossover. But yeah, there's a lot more. You got to do a lot more stuff from scratch.
Yes,
in Dreams, like
is definitely.
You just slap on a rotator or a look at rotator and a mover, and your arrows go where you want. But in real life, that's not a good way to put it. In PC game engines,
no,
that's not a thing.
It should be, but it's not.
You need vectors, and you need to have. Oh God.
There's a little bit.
Anyway, arrows shoot where they need to go, so it's
good.
Yeah.
And
okay.
you,
anyway, someone else go now.
I guess I'll go. You can find the work that we're working on at our Discord, Maximum Velocity. We're working on a racing game. Got that experience from Dreams. I encourage everybody, just get experience in Dreams. Have fun. If you're having fun with it, have fun with it. If you want to learn game development, get the experience in Dreams and then learn to translate it into other programs. And you can follow our Discord. Hopefully Maito will post it, and check out some of the work I did. I'm working on a lot of the body kits for our cars, and doing the gameplay design and UI. And there's a little bit of me there. So if you followed my journey, you can see like I've learned a lot from just working in Dreams. There's no college experience here, just high school and what I've taught myself through tutorials. But yeah,
Awesome.
make sure you follow me and follow our journey, because it's an exciting one. And you can even join us for our server test.
Cool. All right. And Scott?
Yeah, so I'm working on a game called Solid State, which is a sort of noir-y, future-y, adventure-y, cinematic thing, which I've been tweeting a bit about, but not a huge amount. That's going to change soon because it's been a couple of years now, and I'm starting to find its shape. I'm super excited about it because I'm just trying to do something a little bit different to what's on the Dreamiverse. It's big and it's stupidly big and complicated, but I figure why not? We're going to do something, mate. So I'm actually putting some resources behind it when we get a bit closer, so we can have great voice, great music. So I'm actually going to put some money towards it, just to give it that extra level of polish. But it's just for Dreams, and it's just to get it out there. And as I said, just even if 10 people go, that was a great experience. I'd be really satisfied with that. I'm making a game for myself, but I'm trying to apply all the things that we've all been talking about, learn from everyone. stuff to see how far you can get down there. And I'm super excited about it, and might do a little bit of an info dump in the next few weeks. And there's a website coming up in a few hours, just to make it fun and just to, again, trying to do dev as well. So I'm always impressed when
Nice.
everyone's streaming their progress, because I always think it's quite strange. I'm not used to that, but I can see how beneficial
It is
that is.
strange.
Mm.
I've turned off all alerts too. It's so distracting. I need to say though, like it is, you get so many, like if you're just working by yourself, okay, but like if you have chat, like they help you when you're stuck, they give you good and bad ideas. It's really nice. It actually, I cannot count the amount of times where I've been helped or saved by chat. It's cool actually to actually develop like on stream. Just it's very distracting if you don't do it correctly. It's very, because like you need to focus, but then there's chat. So it's a learning process, but it honestly it helps a
with
lot.
an audience. So
What?
it's like just it's working.
It's working with an audience.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I've watched a few and I've gone, I really would like to do it just to give back a bit through techniques and things you pick up along the way. But also just because it is, you can find if you don't express that, you tend to sort of be your own audience, and then it gets again a bit insular. And I'm trying to do vehicles, logic, music, character animations, environments, everything at once.
Oh wow.
And so I must admit that, like, you don't know what sort of mode you're in. It's like, today I'm going to make some heads, or today I'm going to make some vehicles. But yeah, I've been watching a lot more of them recently, and watching a lot more community streams and things, and Atheist and a few people, and just watching how they work is really interesting, because you do always pick at least one thing up that you went, oh, I didn't actually. That's actually really good way doing it. It's not like
even if
a different thing.
I've seen it so many times where I'm just watching a stream and someone just does, like, I love it when some streamers, they will have a camera dedicated to the controller, or they'll have like the controller in the UI so you can see what buttons they're pressing. Because sometimes I'll go, oh, I didn't even know that shortcut existed. Like that just changes everything now. That just took like so much time off of doing something because I didn't know that shortcut existed. So yeah, like just silly things like that by watching streams can really benefit you just by seeing the small things that you wouldn't necessarily have known before.
And again, just inspiring seeing people just making games in Dreams. It's fun to watch. It's really, and it, as I said, it always gets me off my ass. Always the next thing I do after I finish watching is go fire it up and get that other bit done and get this. So again, the dream is, it's a very reciprocal thing. You know, dreamers inspire dreams.
Absolutely.
Cool.
And you, Jamie, what have you got cooking?
What are you doing?
I am cooking up on something, but it's going to take a very long time to do. When I first started Dreams, well, I came to Dreams to build a game, obviously, like the majority of everybody. And it was just for the fact of wanting to build something to say that it was mine, and like I built that, like that was my piece in the world. I did it, and that's it. But again, with most people when starting Dreams, my idea was far too big. So I realized that it would be a bit impossible to do it. So I've downscaled it, and I've just been working on like conception ideas and actually just trying to learn the tools a bit more to be able to develop something solo, just so that I can put those skills to use elsewhere. So yeah, I'm cooking up, so I'm not really ready to talk about it, but with the move and everything, it's been on pause for a while. But yeah, everybody knows where to find me. It's Jammy James on everything. And once I get my new setup, I intend to do a lot more streams. I want to do a lot more community-driven stuff, because since doing the podcast, I've just fallen in love with just talking with everybody. So I want to do a lot more streams of playing Dreams, to sort of give that a bit more exposure,
awesome.
so people can see the stuff that's out there, especially a lot of the stuff that maybe doesn't get picked up on Media Molecule streams. So like sort of the stuff that's buried underneath of all the MM picks and stuff. So yeah, I want to shine a bit more light on the community once I get set up properly.
Nice. All right. Well,
what about you, Matty? Anything?
I almost got out. No, I was about to roll the credits, but as soon as I'm healed up, I am going to be streaming a lot. I'm going to, well, I've already started putting together a project that I want to work on, and as I was talking about earlier, kind of making a list of all the things that I've learned from people while doing this podcast and all the things that I can do to correct where I went wrong. and I plan to stream all of it. So
Nice. Good shit.
that's
Document it
it's
all.
gonna be my that's gonna be kind of my next thing. I got a lot of stuff going on in the background, so hopefully I don't get sidetracked on any of these. But yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. I got some screenplays to write, and I got some other stuff that needs to get done. But outside of those, I'm going to be on here streaming everything, and yeah, it'll be fun. So that's
All
it.
right.
Y'all know where to find me.
So lots of
So-
stuff coming from everybody. Then that's good to know.
Yeah. 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 Oh yeah, Scott, you said you're not you can't talk about your company, your production group at all.
Yeah, I
that's
can.
got
I just don't want to tell anyone's. No. We're using. Do you mean for what we've used Dreams with?
No, just like in general,
company,
like
yeah.
like is there a place we can find that kind, like website wise, or
Pleasantly, but I'll do that on Twitter. I'm not really a social media person. I try to keep away from that as much as possible. I'm only on Twitter for Dreams, and that's been actually the community's been amazing. I just really,
best way to be. Best way to be.
You're the food for the fire. It's all good. But no, we've got I've got a little development website going up just to give it some presence, and there'll be a YouTube channel with some behind the scenes work of what I've actually been doing the last 2 years, because I have been keeping it all. I just haven't been posting it because it feels a bit irrelevant until I'm getting somewhere with it. But now I'm getting somewhere with it, and I know what the shape is, and the story's finished, and I know what it is. I do want to shut off. I was going to hold my cards, but I don't see what the point of that is. I don't really think there's any point to that. The whole idea is to share, and I'm only just really learning that it's really important to give back. And there's a lot of techniques and things that I haven't seen anyone doing that I'm like, well, maybe I should just show people how these things are done, because even if you can get one other person, I forgot who said it on Twitter, but like, if you might be holding other things back from people polishing their dreams up if you don't tell these things. And it's a good point. We can only hold our cards for so long until you really have to show people so that they can learn to think. It's reciprocal. We're all learning from each other, no matter how. I mean, I'm nearly 50 and I'm learning stuff. I like you said before, Marty, is that like I wish I'd had this stuff back when I was a kid, but in the 70s we didn't have anything like this. We had a green cube flashing on a screen, and that was it. And paper, things you made out of paper. So to have these tools now is mind-bending. So yeah, I've realized that very soon, and I'll start unloading a lot of stuff on the community, and hopefully you'll like it. The idea is to show off some.
We will. I know we will. Don't worry about that.
It's a big time.
All right. Well, just let me know when you make sure you let me know when you drop it, because I'm gonna throw it out there. All right. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we must end the show. But hopefully everybody will be back next week. We are supposed to be having the sculpting masterclass with Saku's Mind.
Saku, yes.
And we got quite a few things being worked on.
There's a lot cooking up.
Yeah, nice. Your boy been injured, but he's had a lot of time on his hands to get in people's emails.
Yeah, well, you see,
DMs.
when he's injured, you see, I know it's horrible when Mighty is injured. He uses that time to really focus, and he just gets stuff done. And like, I'll just get a message, and I'll be like, "Wait, what's happening? This is gonna happen?" He's like, I'm working on it. Like, I'm in bed. I've got nothing else to do, so I'm just gonna work on this until we get it. I'm like, all right, if you can get that, I'll be surprised, but okay.
Yeah, let's hope everything works out with the Santa Monica God of War dev, because I don't like working.
Bro,
I don't like working through proxies. I hate it. I rather speak.
But if that does, I have so many questions. I will be so
yeah.
excited for that.
Yeah. So.
Right.
Anyway, with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you everybody for joining. KJ, Scott, Acert, our third co-host.
Hey, I'll if you guys need a sub or a break or something.
See, I know. He's ready. He's
raring. He's raring.
Yes, to go. But thank you everyone for coming through. I love this conversation, and anytime you you got something that you really want to show, just let me know. Let me know. And that goes, KJ, that goes for you as well.
Yeah,
You out here,
everybody.
you know?
We don't mind doing some world premieres.
Yes.
Oh, okay, we're not doing that though. We're not. God, I hate. Anyway, the point is, thank you everybody. I hope you enjoyed the show. We will be back next week and just survive until then. It's rough out here. It's rough out here.
Tell me about it.
So later, everybody.
All right, bye.
Thanks for having me.